Cool. Well, chat, just scream at us again if it keeps derping, but obviously we're doing our best. It's good to know that everyone else is equally struggling. So,
Yes.
cool. So our adventurers, Jeshuan and Jekli, are wanting to take part in what is seen as an annual sort of religious event. Everyone doing their pilgrimages up to the Skyfields, but also an annual sort of capitalist mercenary event because there is shitloads of work to be had as far as protecting the squishy spiritual folk venturing into the wastelands to the north. But in order to get to the Ever Monolith, the place where they're going to have to, gather up and where all these contracts are going to be, where all the work is going to be, they need to get there. It's quite a ways away in Navarine. So Jeshuan and Jekli are currently heading to a town, small little crossroad village in a large sort of farming community. Honestly, one of those two intersection villages. They've got a general store, they've got a tavern, and they may have someone who, has a cart that passes through to sell odds and ends every now and then. But you guys are heading to the town of Faston. So you are currently on the road. It's about noon, we would say. And you're expecting to arrive in Faston just before dinner, just in time to get some grub. But I'll let you two sort of introduce yourselves to one another a little bit. You were sort of in a larger caravan until just about 5 minutes ago. So there's a caravan that was moving west across Navarine, and then it turned out that you two were the only ones heading towards Faston. And you have just discovered that you are both heading to Faston to catch the same caravan out to the Amber Monolith.
Creepy.
I've lost
So what would be sort of the introductory hellos, or what you would disclose of yourselves to one another while heading towards a small town?
I probably don't make the first move in terms of meeting people. I'm probably just walking along, keeping my wits about me.
Okay, and Jekli is also antisocial, so there should be some compelling discussion.
Well, he's not that antisocial. He's it's just he's not whatever. Hey, where you going?
Hello. Is it you I'm looking for? I turn and say, I'm going to Faston.
Hey, we travel together. Seems probably a better idea than to travel alone, right?
Yes.
Are you good with that thing? And he points to
Man of few words. Yes.
I look down to my sword. Yes.
Yeah, Will, can you describe your sword for everyone? Because it's not just your average, everyday sort of hack of metal with a bit of leather on the end of it.
Right. It's a full length, 17 inches.
Of course.
Of course. It's a full length samurai sword, and it's got very intricate inlaid patterns on the sheath. You'd have to get close to take a good look at it, but when you do, you see kind of writhing serpents along the sheath. But obviously, you can't see what the blade is like. But the sheath certainly looks very very nice.
Now, what we'll say as well, to add some spark, given Jekli's interest in technology, Will, can you tell Cord, as well as those in chat, what ciphers and what oddity you are carrying?
Sure. So, my ciphers. Let's take a quick look. My ciphers. I have a ceramic sphere which explodes with radiation when thrown, and I have a beauty mask which is, when applied and dried after 10 minutes, I can look 4 years younger. But I'm already beautiful, so I don't need to do that. And my artifact is a button. Displays a random letter in my language.
Cool.
So
now,
there you go.
Cord, I'll say that you can tell you're picking up some kind of technological device on Will's person, but I'll say what's sort of more intriguing to you is actually this little box that he has that you're not sure quite what it does. It has a button on it, but beyond that, you're not sure. Again, the Beauty Mesh Cream, not exactly what you would classify as technology or machine, even though it's very advanced sort of biochemical paste. But yeah, you're pretty intrigued by this little box that Will has.
What's that? What are you carrying with you?
It's an artifact.
Of where'd you find it?
In my travels.
May I see?
Very well. I hand it to him.
What, it just looks like a box.
Yeah.
It's like a box with a little button, and there's a little display screen.
You mind if I press this?
Yes.
The suspense is killing me.
And he presses it. You lose one cipher.
I will say the
Hold on,
word.
God.
I'll say the word cheese comes up in the little display.
Are you? Does it say anything else? Am I reading like? Can I? It just says cheese.
It's not a Wikipedia entry. It's just cheese.
Just cheese. Okay. Yeah. I smile. And I like wait. And then I hold it up. So like it's holding both, or my traveler and I are both in the shot of this imaginary photo, and I go, when does it go off?
The box says iPhone 7 on.
Do I is it supposed to, is it a flash? What am I waiting for?
What are you doing?
It says cheese. That cheese means like that's the universal for like smile. It makes you cheese. It makes you smile. So you take a photo. You don't remember doing that when you were a child with your parents?
No.
My parents are dead.
Exactly.
But my parents did.
Oh.
No, I don't say that. He
Right.
just says no.
I'm sorry. Here you go. He just tosses it back at you.
I'll catch it
Piece of
very
rubbish.
quickly.
All right. While Jeckley is sort of disappointed in the non-flash of this non-camera,
Yeah.
you can both make for me a perception task. The base difficulty on this task is 3, and it's an auditory perception. So if you're going to see whether or not any kind of training applies, it'll be auditory.
Okay. By the way, you might want to turn yourself up a little bit, Myth.
Oh.
Is what Zolan says.
Turn myself up. Got it.
So for this, what do I roll?
Yeah. So if you are not trained in any kind of perception or specifically oral perception, and if you don't have any assets, which at this time you guys don't, it's a fairly clear day. It's not like there's a storm, so there's no negative modifiers or anything like that. But there's nothing overly positive helping you hear this. You'll just be making an intelligence task. So if you wanted to spend some effort, you'd be able to reduce the difficulty if you want. But the base to hear whatever the sound is going to be a difficulty of 3. So if you don't want to modify it, you don't want to spend some effort, burn some intelligence points, then it'll be rolling a difficulty 3.
Sure. I'll roll difficulty 3.
Can I just click the 3 button?
Yep.
0 successes. Hey.
All right, Jeckley, you're going to
Sweet.
hear probably about 40 feet off of the path that you guys are walking on. I will say, as you're sort of in the camera, you're walking around, you're sort of waiting for it to click. As you toss it back, you're going to hear what sounds like sort of stalled hydraulics, and it's really, really faint. But you've heard this a couple times before. It's the sound of some type of hydraulic mechanism trying to activate, but it's caught on something. And like I said, it's about 40 feet off the road, just sort of into the brush, lightly wooded area on either side.
Do you hear that?
No. What?
Come. Be quiet. Quiet as you can. And he starts to crouch and like grab his bow, and then he starts to sneak towards the sound.
Okay, so sneaking will be a speed task, only a difficulty 2 to sneak up through this
Okay.
for either of you. And again, if you're trained in sneaking, it'll reduce it down. If you had any kind of assets or anything like that, it would help as well.
I have careful movement, but is that anything to do with it?
I'll say that'll apply in this because it's sort of like not stepping on the twigs and that kind of stuff. That's the biggest way to sneak in broad daylight is more noise than visual.
So it's a... Well, I forgot what difficulty you said it was, sorry.
So it started as a 2, so you can have it reduced down to a 1.
Cool. Hey,
All
success.
right, so you both successfully sort of sneak, Cord sort of padding carefully with his bow ahead, and then Will taking the caution to not step on anything, make any kind of noise. And as you guys approach, you see the noises coming from a large fallen log. This log is kind of mossy a little bit. It's definitely been rotting for quite some time, but still quite heavy, probably about 2 feet around in diameter. And this log is sort of like rolling a little bit, sort of in time with this hydraulic mechanism, presumably underneath, that's trying to activate.
What is it?
I'm just trying to. Is there any way I could try to like reach out and try to communicate with the machine? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you just see a log that's kind of twitching,
Okay.
and there's something underneath it. And if you were to sort of walk around and inspect, all you'd really be able to see, pulling the brush away and stuff, is there some kind of a metal plate that this log is on top of. And the metal plate is what's trying to sort of raise or lift.
Can I toss a rock at it?
The metal plate, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to toss a rock at it, see if I can like move the metal plate.
No, the metal plate clearly is sort of in place in the ground where it is, and it's the log that's been put on top of it.
Okay, all right. So I was visualizing that wrong. Okay, yeah, he's gonna just sneak up and try to figure out the hydraulic, like where the noise is. The noise is bothering him, and he wants to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess 2 of the main options would be you can either try and get this log off of the plate, or you could try and dig around if you wanted to maybe have access to it without necessarily moving the log and allowing whatever's trying to activate to activate.
He's gonna take the log off.
Okay, so it's going to be a might task. Base difficulty is 4. If Will helps you, you can have an asset, which will bring it down to 3, and you can also spend some might effort as well.
Right, help me out this.
Very well.
So you're moving it to 3? Or is it moving it to 4? Okay, so yeah.
Well, so it was a 4, so it gets reduced down to a 3. All right, so you guys try to get a wiggle, and that log is not budging.
You have
I'll
any
say
ideas?
Will, you can attempt the same thing with Cord assisting.
Yeah, Seto moves in with gusto. What difficulty is it? Sorry, 3.
Starts at a 4. If
That's
Jekyll's going to be Jekyll's going to be helping you, it'll go down to a 3. And then remember, you can spend up to 6 points from your might pool to reduce it again.
All right, I'll use the 3 for a success.
Right on. So you roll that log. You kind of get a good heave on it. Maybe stick your feet a little bit, plant them a little bit better than Jekyll had in his first attempt. And you guys roll the log off, and immediately, sort of springing out of the ground, is about a 4-foot tall humanoid looking robot wearing a sort of overcoat with a buttoned up vest underneath and a top hat. And this little robot immediately starts going into a very elaborate speech. So this robot says, welcome, friends. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. It's been so long since we've had any visitors here at the park. If you would please advise to the left that the line is going to be quite long and we know you're going to be waiting. And so there are some refreshments available back there towards the car park. But otherwise, if you just make your way in a single file as reasonable as you can, and we'll make sure that everyone gets admission to the park. And he looks to both of you and says, and what are your names, fine gentlemen?
I think he kind of like looks.
I look at. Yeah, we look at each other.
Yeah, we look at each other. Yeah, he's probably going to. Jekyll?
Seto.
And this sort of automata programmed robot is going to lean in and say,
Oh, nice to meet you, by the way. He goes and like shakes your hand.
yeah, he'll shake your hand. So this guy, he appears to be stuck on kind of a podium. So he's kind of fixed in place at the base. He's kind of like those bobbling clowns that kind of rolls back. It seems like he's got a little bit of spring to him. But otherwise, he's got sort of shoulders, a head, 2 arms, roughly humanoid, sort of human features, but clearly mechanical, quite rusted metal surfaces and textures. And he's going to ask if you two fine gentlemen, are you are you here for the thrills? You're thrill seekers. You've been here before.
I've not been here before.
No.
He's going to say, "Oh, so then you've never seen or been in the maelstrom." And he's going to gesture to the right, and he's going to be gesturing to just the woods. And then he's going to turn to the left and say, or maybe water's not your thing. Maybe you're here instead for the Rollwind Pass, the coaster that goes 7 miles in the air. And he points up into the air, where of course you see nothing but sky and clouds.
Right. Are you broken? Are you malfunctioning?
He's going to fix his coat and say, I beg to differ, sir. I'm perfectly capable of undertaking this job, and if you're going to be so accusatory, then I'm going to have to ask you to move on, pay your 30 drachmos, and be on your way. There are people in line behind you.
I have to pay you to move on my way?
Yeah, he's going to gesture left and right and say, well, yes, nobody gets past the gates here. That's why we have these walls. Not anyone can just enter into Fantasy Ford's free rail theme park without paying admission.
Right. You have any idea what he's talking about? Seto?
No. Seto.
Seto.
No.
Right.
So this automata, this little hydraulic robot, is going to start to get a little impatient. He's going to say, well, gentlemen, much as I've enjoyed this conversation, I'm going to have to insist that you pay your 30 drachmos or move on back.
There is
back
nothing
the other
above us. There's no roller coaster. There's no parking garage or whatever you said. There's nothing nearby. There's no gates. It's just, you're a broken machine. I'm sorry.
He's going to continue sort of shaking his head and say, if you would like to request a map of the park, I'd be happy to provide you with one. And he sort of opens up his palm, and a small little holographic projection opens up, and it does show a fairly expansive theme park that must have at one point been in this area. And he points out again, sort of wagging his little robotic finger at you. See, here's the maelstrom, and here's the mile-high free rail, and etc.
Right. Well,
there's nothing here now. Look. I gesture.
Sort of looks left and right, and I'm sorry, but it'll be 30 drachmas to enter into the theme park. Not any thrill seeker can enter Fantasy Ford's free rail theme park without paying admission. Now, if you'd please, there's a line behind him. He goes back into his repetition.
I don't have drachmas.
Yeah, drachmos is not a currency either of you have heard of before.
All right. Well,
we have Shin.
Do you extend a shin?
Yeah, I show him. Giving it to him. This is a shin, is what I.
Okay, he'll take a shin and sort of look at it, put it in the palm that he had the holographic projection come out of, and sort of scan it, and then say, "Yes, this'll do." And he'll put it into his pocket, and then look to you, Cord, and say, "And yourself, the 30 drachmos."
How many shins did you give him? 30 or 1?
I think the one.
Just the one, yeah.
Yeah, all right. I give him.
I look surprised that he took it though.
I give him hesitantly a shin. There you go.
Great, takes it, pockets it as well, and you see Cord when he opens up his sort of a faux cloth that's clearly like a synthetic, but his jacket pocket. You hear a clinking noise, and you hear your shins land in what sounds like a pile of shins. So they clink down and then sort of clang a little bit as they
cool.
They hit into whatever sort of basin is in his gut where he's keeping all of these coins.
Right. We'll be on
Where do we go?
Well, he's going to say, the gates are right behind me here. Please do enjoy yourself, and keep in mind all liability extends onto the user, and Fantasy Ford can't be held responsible for any injuries or emotional, physical, economic, or otherwise that might be suffered by the thrill seekers, but I'm sure you two will be fine. And he's going to he's just going to be standing there kind of smiling, looking behind you for the next people in line. Cord, I'll say that you can make an intelligence task, only a difficulty of 2 as a base, to know a little bit more about this guy and maybe how he works.
Okay. Intelligence base to 2. So,
and you, presuming you, so difficulty 2 is the acted with this programmed machine for a small period of time now, so you're starting to get a sense of how he might operate, what might be the problem. So again, training in machines would reduce this to a 1 or even lower for sure.
Training one test by choosing. Yeah, all tasks involving machines reduces it by 1, so it was a 2, so I could bring it to a 1.
Yep.
Which is a success. Which should be
barely,
barely
close,
yeah.
but yes, a success.
Yeah.
Cool. So you can tell that from a sort of hardware standpoint, he's relatively intact. Obviously, the hydraulics and walking within his sort of radius or vicinity is what sort of triggered his attempt. That might explain why the log might be there. But from a software programming standpoint, he's clearly sort of stuck on loop. So there's something not functioning in terms of his sort of perceptive apparatuses, or possibly just he suffered something else that's got him stuck. Yeah.
Bad gateway.
Okay. You. I wish I had my abilities so I could figure out like what I can do with his what I can do to him to maybe fix him.
Well, if you give me a sec, I can look. It's the talks to machines that you're thinking from.
Yes.
Okay, so in character options, the focus of talks to machines. That's not even in the expansion. That's in the core. So
Okay,
we'll go to that
cool.
one.
So I can. That means I have that one.
Yep.
All right. So let me.
We'll race to it here. See who gets there first.
You'll probably win because I'm just flipping through different things here.
Talks to machines.
Maybe no lessons were learned. All humanity's computers stopped functioning in the year 3000.
Yeah.
I've been there. Not much has changed, but they live underwater.
Okay, so Cord, as a character who talks with machines, you have machine affinity, so you do gain training in all tasks involved with electrical machines. So that did apply on your last sort of inspection of our friend here. You have the other ability called distant activation, which allows you to activate or deactivate any machine you can see within short range, even if you would normally have to touch or manually operate the device. It does cost 1 intellect point, but you can basically cause like a shutdown, kind of like an like a directed EMP shutdown within short range, so up to 50 feet away from you, which is kind of cool.
And what was that called?
That's called distant activation. Costs 1 intellect point. And you've also got a small bag of tools. So a bag of small tools that you can use for working as an asset if ever you're trying to tinker with or adjust, repair, or otherwise change machines.
Okay. And it's just those, right?
Yep, that's what you get at tier 1.
Great. All right. Thank you. So I'll look towards those. But yeah, all right. So that means I'm going to try to deactivate it in that case.
Cool. So it costs 1 intellect point.
Okay. So
no roll required. Do you have an edge in your intellect?
I do.
Cool. So this functions like a free ability. So you can describe it how you like, but not even requiring a touch, you're able to sort of cause this guy to deactivate where he stands, or at least pivots.
Sure. You see, Jekyll opens or closes his eyes, and he holds his hand out in front of him, and he starts to like tinker, and then like unscrew something with his hands, and then he kind of like takes something apart, and then he, almost like he's pulling an imaginary plug, does so, and then the thing just goes and powers down.
Cool. So yeah, this thing
lays limp on its spring.
Yep. So he's kind of leaning awkwardly to one side.
Okay. And then I'm gonna try to take out my tool bag and try to fix his optics, and see if maybe his perception
Is that safe?
We'll find out. I'm not quite sure, but he clearly is. I'm not wrong here. He clearly can't see well, and so I'm gonna try to figure out, and maybe we can get more information about what he actually was built from, and built for, and what happened to this park. And he's gonna try to fix it. So
I grunt and keep an eye out with my hand on my sword.
with that edge, do I take the edge off, but I don't use anything from my intellect pool?
No, so your edge score is kind of like a base reduction to any expense from that pool. So anytime you're spending intellect points, it's always just at a -1. So 1 point abilities are free abilities.
Cool. All right, and that never changes. That's just always
Nope.
there.
Well,
Okay,
so
cool.
your edge can get higher as you level up. You can
Yeah.
sort of have your edge
But
increase.
I
and
have my
stuff.
edge and my intellect. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm gonna use the bag of tools, which costs 1, I think.
No, the bag of tools doesn't cost anything. It gives you an asset. So the base difficulty on this task to kind of get into this guy and potentially fix what's wrong with him, it's going to be a 6 as a base difficulty. Because you're trained in tasks with electrical machines, that reduces it to 5. And then because you're tools, it'll reduce it to 4.
Cool.
And then again, you can reduce it further by spending int points.
Okay. I think I'm gonna keep. Actually, out of 4 is times 3, so it's gonna be 12.
12 on your d20.
12 on a d20, yeah. So I'm going to spend an intellect point because it's the first day and we're trying to figure out how things work. I'm going to spend another, or would it be an edge? That would be.
Well,
that
so
would be
so
edge
it'll
that I'm
cost,
spending.
so to spend, to activate a level of effort to reduce the difficulty, it costs 3 points from whatever
Okay.
pool. So it'll cost 3 of your int points, but because you're edge of 1, it costs 2
2.
int points.
All right, so I'll decrease this by 2, which gives me 11 out of my pool of 13, and then I will use the
Becomes a
demanding
3.
whatever at rank 3 difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Giving me a success.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So you manage to sort of rummage around, and not only do you are you able to sort of fix his sort of optical apparatuses, so that he'd be able to see once you reactivate him. The other thing you notice while you're sort of rummaging around in there is that he's got like upwards of 20 to 30 shins sort of deposited in his base. But you also see when you're first entering in that someone else has cracked this guy open quite crudely, and they've shoved a small leather bag, roughly the size of a sort of cue ball, and they've just shoved that bag in there. So someone stored something in like the side of this guy's ribs, and then just quickly sort of screwed it back up, hoping that no one will notice.
Okay. I take that bag and I take the shins. And
Roll 2d20 for how many shins he's got.
Sure, I would love to. For a total of 14.
Okay. Yeah, so you get 14 shins, and that includes the 2 that he somehow took from both of you. And
I
and a
give-
little brown leather bag.
I offer half of them to Seto. And I go,
Seto.
Eh? Yes? I mean,
I nod and take them.
okay. And I think it gives you he gives you 1 more. So you actually take 8 because you gave him 1 and then we split it. So,
Oh, okay.
so I was at, I don't remember where I was at. It was 14 plus like 6.
I started with 5.
I had 14 and I spent stuff. Anyway, yeah, I'll figure it out.
5
Cool.
plus 8 maths. There we go.
So you recover not only your own shins, but those of other unwary travelers, or if nothing else, just confused travelers. And yeah, Cord, you can reactivate him whenever you like. Again, that same ability, you can describe how it reactivates, because it's a free ability for you.
Sure. He's going to put the cranial plate back on. After I'm going to go back and look through the eyes, or like the camera ports, and I'm going to try to see if there's any sort of like connection error or some sort of I just want to see if there's like a good like connection between the optics and its processor.
Yeah. So that was sort of that was fine and intact. The bigger issue seemed to be that he was unable to sort of process new data or new information. So he was just sort of locked in with what his last sort of set of details or data was.
Is there any way from here I can break that wall of, like, I guess break that?
Like to fix him so that he can perceive new.
So he can download, more firmware.
Yeah. I mean, that was your 6 repairs, so you were able to sort of
So I
bring
need
this
to like
guy
go
back.
into the BIOS and fix it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So he's gonna put the faceplate back on and the cranial plate, and then he's just going to kind of like hold his hands out, and then he just kind of snaps, and then he kind of like looks with his arms crossed and trying to hide his hands from Yashuan, and then he snaps his fingers, and then you hear a
Cool.
and then lights probably go back on. Doesn't really want him to know.
Yeah, so this guy sort of like unslumps from his side and immediately just starts twitching his head back and forth, blinking rapidly, processing this new information. But he doesn't say anything immediately. He seems kind of struck or overwhelmed with what he's processing.
Welcome back.
He's going to look back and forth a bunch and look towards you two and say, Who are you? Where am I?
Jekli.
Seto. Welcome back.
He's going to sort of lean his head down a little bit and say he remembers tracks and they were high tracks. It was like a metal snakes. Are you here about the metal snakes?
No,
No.
but that sounds very interesting. Please continue.
So he seems, you can tell sort of from the way that he's sort of talking is that he doesn't know how to process the old data that he had now that he's sort of allowing for this new information to sort of flood in. Cord, you get a sense that it's not an overly advanced like AI. It was just sort of meant to interact and respond more so than sort of think through problems or decisions and things like that. So it's a very sort of rudimentary form of intelligence that's sort of imbued in this, again, stuck on a podium little wobbling robot.
Can you recall the information about these metal snakes for us?
30 drachmos, no liability. 30 drachmos, no liability.
Right. Metal snakes. Are you talking about the roller coaster that went a mile high?
Gonna blink a couple times and say, "Good afternoon, travelers. Welcome to Fantasy Ford's Free Rail Theme Park." And then he's gonna twitch out of it and say, "Metal snakes. Yes, there were metal snakes."
I look at Jekli. This thing clearly knows nothing.
No, I think it knows more than we are than it appears.
Cord, I'll say when you were inside, you definitely would have been able to sort of extract whatever its sort of hard drive would have been to have sort of more crude access to whatever it might know. But obviously that would sort of preclude his ability to stay alive or functioning.
You know, we're probably not going to get anything through this, and he's gonna be like, and he coughs, and the thing just kind of dies, and he kind of activates that ability, and then he opens up the cranium again and just tries to download some information from the probably from his box of tools from the hard drive.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would love for every time you deactivate a machine, it's a sneeze. Like you just that machine. And,
Sorry.
the Aboriginals did not know about disease until the white man came.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's pretty much what he does.
If you're not trying to be careful about allowing this thing to function afterwards, no rolls required. You can just rummage through, pull out whatever.
He's like, it's not gonna do anything. He's got nothing to sell here. So yeah, he kind of downloads the information about the metal snakes.
Sure, I'll say so. You can take out this hard drive, and you will need a more sort of substantial set of tools to be able to kind of
some sort of like
read or process this information. You may actually be able to pull apart some aspects of Seto's cipher, his little box, and maybe work those together so that you'd be able to read some of that data.
Maybe. Is that a cipher or is that an oddity that he has?
Sorry, yeah, Will's little box is an oddity.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you could jimmy those together.
Yeah, Seto. Got a question for you.
Yes.
That cheese box you have. why don't you say we do a trade here? I give you this, and he holds up a wine glass, and he goes, "I'll take your cheese box if you give me and you can take this glass of mine."
I do not drink.
Right, and he hooks it back onto his. He backs onto his belt, or back onto his belt. He goes, "Right. Well, can I see the? You mind if I just use your box?
Yes.
For a moment or two.
Take it.
Do you mind
So, Cord,
if I
you keep
open her up?
you keep
I
your
hand
wine
over.
glass strapped to your belt. I love it. That's good.
Yes. He's got like a little like 2-prong hook, and it just.
I handle the cheese box, the quote-unquote cheese box.
Yeah, and he's gonna activate it one more time. Does it still say cheese?
No, this time it will say.
Look around the room. Tape.
Yeah, we'll say it says tape.
Okay. So now we know there's tape on the desk. Okay, so yeah, he. Yep, there it is.
There's cheese and tape on
On
the
the
desk.
desk.
There's actually no cheese. There's no cheese. That was strictly my imagination.
Wow.
Ooh, gee,
What a
yeah.
mind.
All right, what a mind. So he's gonna try to rig something in his tools, and he's trying to get some information. Hopefully try to turn the cheese box, the word display into some sort of ticker, so he can try to read.
Sure.
Maybe any information. It'll probably take him a long time, so maybe while we're traveling, this
Yeah,
might
that's
might
fine.
take some time. We can either rest here, or we can move on to these fields, if you wish.
I say we continue.
Right.
Cool. So you guys can head back to the road, and you can be sort of jimmying with that as you're walking
Sure.
the rest of the way to Faston. What I will say, though, is, Cord, can you roll me a D20 and a D100?
Sure. Oh yes, because of that thing.
You did find a leather bag.
Dang. At least our ciphers, which we find.
Yes, this is probably
Yeah,
a good
so
time to explain what a cipher is.
Yeah.
Sure. So ciphers in the world of Numenera, they are one-time use trinkets, magic items. They're little technological devices, again, from some past time of advanced technology. And they're a really funky way to constantly have a different arsenal of things to do, ways to tackle problems as players, because you're always finding new ciphers. You can only carry so many at a time, so you won't be using them all the time. And they're one-time use. And they have very diverse uses and abilities. So Cord, you got a 14. Oh no, that was earlier. So you got a 20 and a 42.
Yeah.
So on a 20, we're on list E, and on a 42. Okay, let's find this. In that little brown leather bag is a small little plastic case. So it kind of looks like a film canister. I don't know if that dates me a little bit, but film canister made of some kind of synthetic plastic. And inside, you can hear sort of shaking around, is some kind of a pill. So if you open it up, you can see there's a small pill in there. You have no idea what this pill does. You'll have to identify this cipher. The one benefit of the ciphers you get at level 1 is you know what they do, but in the future you need to identify your ciphers with a Numenera identification task. Any sort of common town or village will have an Aeon priest or two wandering around, and they can usually identify for you at a small price. But yeah, you found a little pill, but you don't know what it does.
Cool. Right. Well. Do any drugs?
What is it?
Sato?
You want to get high?
You want to get real high with this? Eh?
I say no.
Me
Thank
neither.
you.
All right, we'll figure out what this is later. Is it some sort of machinery? Can I at least sense a little bit of that, or is it?
No, it's definitely like it's a plastic synthetic, and then there's kind of an oil-based sort of casing, what looks like kind of a ground gray powder is in the pill, but beyond that, you don't know.
Right. All right. We'll get this checked out later, and we move on. We head towards the Crystal Fields, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you guys are heading to the town of Faston to hitch a ride, to where you might be able to enter the Crystal Fields. So on the road, Cord, we'll get you to make your little tech task to tinker this oddity into something that you can use. Only a base difficulty of 4. But if you are exceptionally successful, then you'll gain some little modifications or added bonuses.
Base of 4, you said. I use my tools, and I can move that.
Yep.
I can bring that down to 3.
And then your training brings it down to 2.
Brings it down to 2.
There you go.
Sweet.
Ooh, it's just scraping by, but still a success.
Barely. It took me the entire time.
Well, yeah, it takes you the entire time, and what I'll say is you're still only able to sort of process it like one word at a time. So you're like reading code one word at a time. Just by hitting
while I'm flicking through with a button. Yeah.
So this will be something that you would spend like the better part of a week just like reading the code as best you can to try and see what it has. But you now have access to this information at some point, and you'll be able to do with that what you will.
Cool.
So coming up to about dusk, you guys are entering into the town of Faston. Like I said, it's a small little sort of farming town that's in the center of a large sort of agrarian community. So it's only got 2 intersections, maybe a dozen sort of clay brick buildings. You see sort of at one of the main intersections, there's a large cart that's kind of got this sort of scaffolding built around it with the canvas, so it's got a covered top back to it. There seems to be a fairly energetic young woman sitting on the back of it, swinging her legs. She's got a really obnoxious kind of like hyena laugh that I'm not going to do on chat for the sake of those in chat. But she's talking to someone and laughing hysterically about something else. And yeah, this is the town where you're expecting to find. You both know that there's a man named Jacobs, and Jacobs takes caravans regularly out to the Amber Monolith. So you were hoping to hitch a ride with Jacobs. But Jacobs is definitely a man, and this young lady here is not. But otherwise, you are in the town. Number of small buildings. There's a little schoolhouse. There's a tavern. So things to see, places to poke around. And Cord, you're kind of just finishing your little tweaks on the box, the cheese box.
Got it. Oh, we're here.
I go speak to this lady, this woman.
Okay, Cord, you're following in behind.
Yeah, probably still doing some fine tweaks on the cheese
More
box.
interested in the box.
Yep.
Okay, so this girl can't be older than her sort of mid-20s. She's got curly red hair. Like I said, that hyena laugh. And as you're walking up, there's sort of a bald man who's sort of waving goodbye. And he says, see you tomorrow, Callie. So you get a sense that her name is Callie. And she gives you a sort of big beaming smile when you walk up. And she says, how's it going today?
We are looking to travel with Jacobs.
Mr. Jacobs, you're going to the Amber Monolith.
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs, he was saying he wasn't really going to be going anytime soon. He said he couldn't go through the woods. He's not going to pay the damn tolls. So, yeah, he said his trip was postponed. Where are you folks coming from?
Back there.
That away.
Yeah.
You can say east.
East. Racist, Mitch.
Well, the Imperial City is further east.
Yeah.
They all have these long mustaches.
West.
West. You're coming from the far near west.
Mm-hmm.
So Callie will say, he said his trip is postponed. I think he's in the spotted Seski right now. She sort of gestures to one of the larger buildings. But she says he's all out of sorts. He's all out of sorts from the troubles he had in the woods and not wanting to pay the tolls on the road.
What troubles did he have?
She lets out one of her hyena laughs that, again, I'm not going to do on chat, but a shrieking thing it is indeed.
God, that's
and she says, "Oh no, I don't talk to him too much. I wouldn't want to bother in his affairs. Him and I were kind of competing interests. He doesn't like the new businessman on the block. Speaking of," and she reaches into her cart and starts going through the motions of trying to sell you a couple of her wares. She offers. She's got a cloak that's very nice that she says can change color. 2 shins, only 2 shins. She's got a pebble that she can sell you. She's got a coin that when you flip it, it always lands on its edge. She's got a Rubik's Cube that she has no idea what it does. And so she starts going through, offering to sell all of these wares and objects that she has.
I'd bow to her.
Thank you, my lady.
And
How
leave.
much for that coin?
One shin for a cute fellow like yourself.
Oh, well, thank you. I give her a wink, and I give her 2.
Cool. She'll let out a disgusting laugh.
I'll
that
give
you
her one.
regret-
Ah, crap! I
regret
take
having given her
yeah,
2
she
shins
laughs.
for.
She laughs, and I take back the shin.
Cool. So she sells you the edge coin.
The edge coin. It's another oddity. I'm gonna have so many oddities.
Very odd man. I head off to where the building to which she pointed.
Okay, it's got your typical tavern sort of sign. It's called the Spotted Seski. Seski are similar to like domestic dogs.
Okay.
They're not quite as haired. They're like multicolored, and they don't tend to have like long sort of fur coats. They've got really short hair, or sometimes they've got more firm, sort of tough, leathery hides. But they're essentially sort of hunting dogs. So the Spotted Seski, the building seems to be sort of inset in the ground a little bit, so it's at least partway in ground, and it's just one long building, so it looks kind of like a barn structure that goes down to the back.
I look kind of awkward walking in. I'm not used to these.
Social
Not
place.
used to such places. Yes, with lots of people. Yeah, so I walk in.
Cool. So you'll see sort of scattered tables, and the only bar is at the far end. There's sort of the pillars holding up the roof, obviously, and they've got sort of lanterns hanging on them. Typical sort of tavern accoutrement. The only notable patrons that you see is there seems to be a small unit of Navarine military in the one corner. And they're all sort of hunched over, just sort of drinking, keeping to themselves, talking in sort of hushed voices. Not overly suspicious, just not
Yeah,
super drunk and making a lot of noise.
I call out,
Jacobs.
Everyone in the tavern is going to stop and kind of turn, and there's going to be an
Including-
awkward quiet,
Including Jekyll.
including Jeckley. You're going to see one of the military guys there is going to eye you pretty thoroughly, top to bottom. Will, especially taking a nice fine look at your sword there. And you guys are going to you're going to be called out from the other end down at the bar. The barkeep is sort of drawing a mug, as they always are perpetually. He's going to be drawing a mug, sort of older man, probably in his 80s with a big mustache, drawing a mug, and he's going to say, "Oi, who are you looking for?"
Jacobs.
He's just going to point with his sort of nod of his head, gesture to one table, and you're going to see a man who's kind of barely able to stay in a seated position. He's so drunk.
I walk over to this man. As I go, I keep my eyes locked with the guard. I'm seeing if he's a worthy warrior or not. Whether or not he's just layabout, or if he's someone I could.
I'll say the guy who's eyeing you, he's got a really nasty scar that kind of goes up his neck and then comes onto his forehead a little bit. His eye on that side is totally white. And you can't tell from the distance and sort of the dim lighting of the tavern, you can't tell if it's a burn scar or if it's just a whole lot of lacerations that are all sort of stacked on top of each other. So it's really hard to see, but he's got some type of strange sort of patchwork of scar that goes up his neck and has caused his one eye to be blank. So if nothing else, that bodes that he survived something fairly vicious, whatever that says about your assessment of his capabilities.
Okay. And I continue to walk over to the drunk man, Jacobs.
You are Jacobs.
He's gonna do one of those hiccups that sounds too much like a burp, or that he might be throwing up. It's kind of a
Indigestion.
he sort of catches it, and in so doing, he's gonna like bop his head on the table. So this guy is pretty drunk.
I pull his head up.
Okay, he's sort of in his mid-40s. He's all sort of red in the face, not just from the immediate, but he's kind of got that rosacea thing going on. And you can see that his one hand that was kind of down at his waist, he's got a prosthetic hand, and it's a pretty shitty prosthetic hand, but yeah. And he's pretty non-responsive. He's just able to make out your silhouette, it seems, even at point blank.
I turn back to Jeckley. Sorry, mate. I turn back to Jeckley and say,
How do I make him not drunk?
That is the question everybody wants to answer. I believe the only way is time. So we must wait.
Very well.
Maybe a cup of coffee, but then if then we'll just have a hyper drunk guy. So it's not likely.
I do not understand these intoxicants.
Me neither. Let's I guess we.
Does
probably
this man
won't. I
live
don't know.
here?
If he's gonna, maybe we should talk with Callie and see if she, because she knows where he is, which we.
You are fond of the woman.
I'm fond of the woman. Is that, are you asking me that, or are you telling me what was that?
Do you know her?
No, I don't know her. Do you know her?
How do you know she can be trusted?
Oh, she may not be. I don't know, but I'm just. You ever think about
Yes,
it?
you like
women?
So while you guys are bantering over what's ostensibly
I don't
the corpse,
understand this banter.
the corpse of a man barely able to hold his head up, the barkeep is going to sort of holler over and say, "Hi, hi! You boys better be buying something. No one, no trouble caused in here. What are you having? What's your tea?" And he makes reference. You guys don't drink, but would either of you have been in a tavern before or in any kind of establishment itself? Okay, so Cord, you'll know that most alcohol, at least in Navarine, is sort of rated on a numeric scale. So a T and then a number. So T1, T, and the numbers go from 1 to 100, and it indicates the relative potency of the drink. It's not necessarily correlative to how we understand like percentages and stuff, but you know that most barkeeps would never serve anyone anything higher than a T75 because anything over 75 can kill you, depending on your constitution, whatever. It can be, serious ramifications, and like really gruff dudes every once in a while will order 80s, and it's never a good scene for anybody. So
Cool.
He asks, what's your tea?
So 100 is probably like like gas, like
Basically straight up gasoline.
yeah. Okay. Like power cars with it. I'll have what he had, and he points to actually probably just like palms his head and just like shakes it, and he's just like whatever he's having. Is it gonna be on your tab? And I start nodding Jacob's head.
I say, Seto says, I do not drink. Thank you.
Can I get you a potato or something? You do
What
eat,
is
don't you?
that?
No, I am fasting. Thank you.
No, you're in Faston. This here is Faston.
No, I am fasting, and I am in Faston.
Okay, we'll add that to the quotes, but otherwise the barkeep is going to sort of give a weird look to you two strangers who are accosting Jacobs. He's going to say, "All right, T45 and a potato coming right up." And he heads off into the back to
45. All right.
fetch the potato.
Weak.
So he comes back, brings out his little tray, and there's a little clay cup for you, Cord, and a baked potato with pepper on it.
When he like comes out and serves it to us, is it on a tray?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna probably grab his wrist from the tray and like hold the tray, make sure it doesn't fall. Just bartender instinct. And then
I look at this potato.
And then he's like, "What do you know of him?" And he points to Jacobs. "How long has he been drinking?"
The barkeep's gonna say, "Oh, poor bastard! He only makes his money on the routes from here to the western parts. Goes to the Westwood. Some months doesn't go to the Westwood. Only gets as far as the Amber Monolith. But ever since they had the troubles in the woods, he can't get no one to take passage. And he's too cheap to go by the toll route. So not really sure what he's expecting. He's been drinking here since 3 today."
What kind of troubles are on the toll route? Have you heard?
Well, he says he lost 2 of his good herd keep the last time he was there.
Right.
So 2 of his herding animals. One of them it's kind of like tough to get around in Numenera. Like none of the animals have the same names. So it's kind of weird. So I'll do more sort of by description. So there's a common herding creature that's kind of like a bipedal camel. So it's got two really thick legs, but otherwise has the kind of humps of a camel, but it has a long tail that kind of lumbers around. So those are the common sort of herd animals.
I was picturing that dog that walks on its hind legs. That's like a huge meme. I was just picturing that, but as a camel. All right.
Yeah, so apparently Jacob's lost two of his good herding stock last time he was there. He said, the whole woods just came alive and all the vines were going crazy. He's not going back there. He's not setting foot back there.
Unless he takes the toll road, which he won't do, or the road is clear of trouble.
Barkeep's going to sort of shrug and say, yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's about the peace. I don't know who's going to take the risk of their neck to clear the woods, but especially with so vague a description. I'll be right back, boys. 1 sec. He's going to head off to
Thank you.
Deal with the soldiers.
Yes.
So, you think we should go try to clear the way? Does it sound good?
Yes.
Maybe
Will this man live?
Ah, yeah, he'll live. He's just drunk. He'll just.
He'll give
What
it-
about this?
He'll give another
Potato.
unflattering hiccup.
Right. Well, I mean, we could wait till tomorrow and try to talk with him, and then we could try to get, maybe he could come with us with his caravan, or we can just go by ourselves. Clear it, come back, pay him to take us, or we could just go by ourselves.
I like not this man. We will go alone.
And I set off.
Right, alone it is. And I finish my drink, and I balance the cup on Jacob's forehead, and then I leave.
Okay. If you finish the drink, you said you don't usually drink at all?
No, he drinks. He's been at bars. He just doesn't like to he's more of an
Like
outcast,
it.
as in social life judges him and stuff. But
Yeah.
he'll drink and hang out and try to make friends. But
Cool.
so yeah, he's had drinks before.
All right, at 45 is not a big deal. It's like taking a shot, so no need for wrenching your stomach. It'll be all good. As you guys are sort of heading towards the door, one of the soldiers, not the one who was eyeing you before, the one with the sort of strange scar on his face, one of the other soldiers is going to sort of call out over his shoulder and say, yeah, head back where he came from. Sounds good to us. Yep. And the man who's got the mark on his face is going to sort of kick this soldier under the table. Just go, oh, fuck, damn. So the guy with the scar is clearly in charge, and the other soldiers are not too keen on foreigners or travelers. You can respond how you like, Will, to whatever degree that blemished your dignity and whatnot.
Sorry, you went slightly roboted for me, probably on my end. But what did he say, if anything?
He looked over, one of the soldiers looked over their shoulder and just said, yep, sounds good. Back where you came from. Get out of here. We don't like you here. So generic chirping kind of,
Yeah,
you don't belong.
I turn around and look at him.
What is your name?
He's going to look back up at you and just start laughing sort of hysterically. He's obviously a bit drunk with his comrades there. He's just started laughing. Did you hear how he said that? What is your name? What is your name? And they all start sort of chuckling and laughing.
My name is Seto Yashuan. What is yours?
He's going to burst out again. And they're all sort of up in arms at your accent, laughing at it sort of hysterically. But it only lasts about a minute. And then the guy who was eyeing you earlier is going to sort of bang both hands on the table and say, enough! And I guess that man will look to you and say, Sergeant Murthew here, 4th Battalion. Don't mind the boys. It's been a long couple weeks.
Right, well, they better They better watch what they say. It's my mate you're talking about. Making fun of who he is as a person? What is that? What is that? Come on. Pretty low of you.
Yeah, even this sergeant is going to sort of spit on the ground, relieve himself of whatever was stuck in his teeth.
Will he?
And he's going to say,
I think we lost him.
I think Will is frozen.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Well, stream's
Oh, he's saying it's dying. Yeah, stream's still here.
Stream's here. It's probably just hangouts. So yeah, I guess we could. So what do they do when I say that? Sorry.
Can Will hear us?
I don't know. Can I call him? No, that's not how it works. He has to join the thing.
I'm back. I missed the past 30 seconds. My
okay,
Google
there you go.
Hangout's just
It's okay.
totally roboted on me.
Good.
I got to the point where the man said stop, and I heard Cord saying something.
Yeah, so
I just said,
the sergeant stepped up and said, told his boys to shut up, and it's been a long few weeks. Be on your way, sort of thing. And then Cord courageously said, "That's my mate you're talking about. Don't talk about my mate."
Yep.
And then,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's on you. You can respond as well.
No, I say, do not disrespect my name. Thank you. And I bow and leave.
Okay, they're not gonna catcall or laugh quite as hard as they were before in the same manner, but clearly not fond of people who aren't of Navarrene stock, at least in the ranks of that unit.
Okay, I walk out without further
Cool.
rage. You probably see him like clenching and unclenching his fist. Cord. He's
Okay.
discipline. I walk out. We will speak to the woman that you like.
Yeah, you guys head outside. It's sort of coming to be dusk now, just sort of past 5-6 o'clock-ish. Callie's still swinging her feet on her cart of wares down at the corner of the street there. So.
Okay. I guess we go and we say our Jack Lee approaches and goes, right, so we found Jacobs. He's a bit drunk. Not sure if that's a usual thing, but we decided to go ahead and try to clear the road so he can make himself more of a man than a drunk from here on out.
So you mean to go into the Northwood?
Right.
As long as you don't do it at night, I don't think you should do it at night.
Right.
I mean, if you recall, your friend's got a real fancy sharp stick there, but woods at night, and especially if folks have been losing their herders. So she gives you the rough sort of indication of where you'd be heading, sort of where this little patch of woods is. She says that there's a small little path that cuts through it, and that's what Jacob's used as a detour to get around the toll routes. And he's always used it so he doesn't have to pay the tolls. It's not an enormous patch of woods. There hasn't been too much or anything overly suspicious about it in the past. And now there's just some aggressive plants, apparently. Jacob's claiming that the woods were what took his herders, although there are various degrees of believing him in the community, given his status as a drunk.
All right.
Will, did you want to take a 2-minute break? You said sort of every hour you want to pause. And
Oh, I'm good to go. Unless, do you want a break?
I'm good. You can keep going.
I mean, I'm going for 6-7 hours.
Yeah, might as well.
Still all just warm up compared to 24 hours.
How's Skype for you, Will? I mean, is this a good time to
I'll
maybe
try it
switch
out.
to
I'll
Skype?
try it out.
So Cord,
I turn.
to give
Sorry, go
chat, Will, if you're going to check the Skype for a sec, Cord, why don't you tell chat what your ciphers are?
Sure. My ciphers and those things are the one-time use little artifacts that we pick up throughout the game. my starting ones, there's one called a heat nodule. It's a crystal nodule or a little crystal node that I can affix to a melee weapon for 24 hours. It's a +2 fire damage weapon, which actually in this game is pretty good. There's like light weapons, medium, and heavy weapons, and they all do a base damage. You don't really roll it, I guess. Am I getting that correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just meant to be like categories, so that all
Yeah.
light weapons, whatever flavor or description or type you want, light weapons deal
Make
2,
it up, yeah.
medium weapons deal 4, and then heavy weapons deal 6.
Sweet. Like my melee weapon is a forearm blade, and I would be getting it's a +2, so it would double its damage, which is really cool. So that's first, it's like a little heat jewel or something I could add to it. I also have a neuron disruptor, which is pretty good. It is a small metal cylinder with some dials on it. It has a 1 mile pulse and any living creature under level 8 or tier 8 or whatever it is, or lower is paralyzed for 28 hours. And then I also have a small pill that I just got, which I don't know. So those are my ciphers. I also have an oddity, which is a unbreakable stemmed glass that appears empty even when full.
Cool.
The paper's still down, so let's carry on.
Carry on.
I turn to Jekyll. No, Jekyll. I keep thinking Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll, and
Sorry.
and I say, "Do you want to go now or tomorrow?"
Let's go. Let's have a night in and try to sleep and rest in a bed for once, and then maybe.
Where
then we
are
can
the
head out.
beds in this place?
Right. Well, maybe
where
just in an area that isn't, woods.
Well, you guys. Well, I'll say there. You noticed that there were upper levels to the Spotted Seski Tavern. So
I
presumably
say,
I am not joking. Where are the beds?
Oh,
in
where
this
are
place?
the beds? I thought you said there are no beds. I'm sorry. Miscommunication.
It is my accent, maybe.
Must be. Or the
The
Google
men in
Maps.
there also joked.
I like the hyper literal interpretation of everything.
Yeah.
Nothing goes
I'm gonna start throwing. I'm gonna start throwing puns and metaphors at you and stuff.
Yeah. Right. So, I think maybe the Spotted Seski could probably have a bed for us, or a room, maybe for each of us. Not saying us, but maybe.
It's a new army.
Exactly. I also have to figure out what this thing does. And he rattles the film canister with the thing inside. Maybe we can...
If you guys are still standing near to Callie,
Sure.
if you hadn't stepped off, she'll say,
Probably
"What's
so.
that you got there?" She'll
I don't
sort of
know. What?
pop off of her seat and get all excited.
I don't know. What is it? I found it. Don't know what it is.
She says, "Well, you just give me 1 second there, friend." She takes it out of your hands and dives headfirst into the back of her cart, and you hear a bunch of rummaging and sort of clanging and banging and stuff. And she's gone for a couple minutes, and then there's some quiet, and then there's some more noise. And then she comes back out with a big smile on her face. And she says, "For an extra shin, I can tell you what this pill does."
Right. Yeah. Pass it.
Okay, she explains that if you were to swallow this pill, whoever were to swallow this pill, the user's body would become stone for 24 hours. While in this form, you're immune to all damage inflicted by energy. You gain physical armor of 4, and you're in a catatonic state, so you can't actually move or take actions.
That is not good. You should throw this poison away.
I might have a use for it.
I kind of give him an odd look, 'cause so I'm trying to figure out what his possible uses might be. And seeing as Seto can't think of any uses in his head that he'd use it for, he shrugs his shoulders.
We'll make no reference to 17 inches being rock hard, of course, but
Obviously not.
that can just
Not even that.
Obviously. Not even done. There we go. Some really high grade stuff, says Cleric. Yep.
Yeah.
It's that good stuff, man.
Yeah, 28 hours. 28 hours.
28
Call
hour
a
box.
doctor.
They come down.
That works more than 28 hours. Please call your nearest physician. What are they, Aeon priests? Is that what they're called? These things?
Yeah, Callie's not an Aeon priest, but
Yeah, but
an
those are,
Aeon
like,
priest would be like
stuff.
the member of society who just like studies weird shit. Yeah.
Would Seto think does he think she's a trader, or does he think she's like a prostitute?
She definitely doesn't seem like a prostitute. She did make reference to sort of competing business with her and Jacobs. They don't get along too well. She sort of sits on this cart at the corner, kicking her feet, trying to peddle stuff to people like the Edge coin and whatnot. So
Okay, yeah, he's just unfamiliar with women, basically, but he's heard.
so you're not too sure what she'd sell. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so he bows to her. Thank you. Goodbye.
She's gonna let out like the giggle version of her horrendous laugh, and sort
Wish
of
I knew what it was.
blush. Yeah, it's kind of like a horse neighing.
No, it's fine. Perfect.
Blush a little bit at your bowing, your politeness.
I just nod and walk.
Back into
Jackie
the spot
probably
it
does the
says.
same. Just a slight nod.
Cool.
Yeah, I stop before I enter, and turn to Jackley and say, "You should go first."
All right. And he walks in.
I follow him.
Okay, following right behind.
His mask is
Okay,
probably like around his neck with the hood up.
Sure.
Or hood down
Sure.
as well.
We will do our first intervention here, our first intrusion. Will, you can take an XP. When you guys walk back in,
Do you want
that's
to
not
explain intrusions?
Yep. So you can take an XP, Will. Those soldiers immediately stand up, and they're not cool with you having walked back in after, as far as they were concerned, they summarily dismissed you from the spotted Seski. So
Gotcha.
in Numenera, how the experience system works, in addition to sort of bulk allotments at the end of sessions and stuff like that, the GM has the freedom and liberty to sort of just intrude in ways that spice up the game, make the narrative happen as inconveniently as possible, whatever makes the most exciting sort of dramatic story for the players. It's sort of the equivalent in other D20 systems. If you roll a 1, the GM can take liberties with like, oh, what else bad happens other than just like the non-successful action. So like, oh, you rolled a 1, not only did you not land the attack, you dropped your weapon, or this happened or that happened. In Numenera, the GM can do that whenever they want. They just have to give that player 1 XP to sort of justify it. And then conversely, players can spend XP to refuse the intrusions so that they can say, no, like I really want this to happen this way. I really want the chandelier to be able to hold my weight so that I can swing and drop kick the guy. If I were to intrude and say, oh, the chandelier can't hold your weight, take some XP, you crash to the ground instead. You could resist that by paying an XP to maintain whatever sort of idea or action you wanted to do. So the players don't have a pool of XP right now, so Will cannot resist this. I give him an
Can't
XP.
resist you.
I give him an XP because he's going to take the brunt of this. And we'll say that right after Cord is sort of 1 or 2 steps past the table with the soldiers, Cord, you just hear all the chairs sort of screech on the floor as they all stand up to block the door. And you hear the sergeant, Sergeant Murthew, is going to sort of in a low grumble to you, Will. He's going to say, now, I kept my boys calm before, but you should have known better than coming back in here. And he's sort of standing at the back towards the door, and you turn around and you can see there's these 3 other soldiers, and they're all sort of standing up, kind of puffing their chests, sort of one of them's cracking his knuckles, the other's sort of crossing his arms. They're all trying to look as tough as they can. So we're not in initiative yet, but that's what their intention is.
I say,
I mean no disrespect. I simply want to sleep.
They'll sort of part a little bit, stepping side to side to reveal the door, and say that you can sleep outside with the rest of the dogs.
I say, I am not a dog.
Well, you sure as hell aren't from Navarine.
That is correct. Well observed.
Okay, one of the soldiers is going to look to the other and say, I think he just made fun of you, Rick. And they're going to start to get riled a little bit, and 2 of them are going to start sort of walking towards
Please, I mean no offense to you, Rick.
And Cord, how are you responding?
He's going to
this
approach.
Unfolds.
Is there a problem here, gentlemen? You have a problem with, once again, mine, mate?
Yeah, again, the sergeant, the one in charge who calmed the situation before, is going to say, yeah, I gave you boys a pass last time, but you shouldn't have poked back in here. This ain't your tavern.
Well, you gave us a pass last time, and this time I'll give you a pass. And he's gonna like flick his wrist, and his forearm blade is just gonna slide out. I'll give you a pass this time as well.
All right, so we will roll initiative for this as you demonstrate your Spider-Man-esque wrist blade maneuver. So how
comes out
initiative
of
works?
the other side of his wrist. So,
On the top. Okay.
Yeah,
much
on the top of his
Oh,
wrist.
cool. Totally different.
Slightly different.
Totally different.
Totally.
Okay, so how initiative works, really sort of streamlined, is you roll against the difficulty of the creature. So same thing, these guys are level 2, except for the captain. He's a level 3, but roll it as a level 2 task. It's a speed-related task. And if you succeed on the speed-related task, you get to go first. So initiative is more just about, do you go before or after the bad guys?
Okay. So what do I roll?
So a difficulty 2 task, and it's a speed task if you wanted to
Sweet.
burn some points.
Okay. And hey, Hilden. Good to see you. Welcome.
Oh yeah, I'm so fast. I forgot. Yeah, I'm gonna spend a speed. It's 2, you said, right?
So it costs 3 points to spend a level of effort. If you have an edge, it would reduce it, but
Yeah,
the base
cool, that's
cost
fine.
is 3 per level of reduction. Yeah.
So I could make it simple because it was at 2, you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll keep it at 2. 0 success.
Ooh, okay.
It's
And
probably
20.
it's probably the fact that I'm not trying to fight them. I kind of stand until the last moment where
Yeah. You were trying to like calm the situation and that sort of thing.
yeah, he's just kind of standing there like,
Please, Rick, we do not need to fight. I do not wish to draw my sword. I only do so to kill.
Cool. So all 4 of these blokes are within immediate range. But Cord, because you got the 20, you got the sort of max crit on the initiative roll. Not only do you get to go first, obviously, but I'll say that the difficulty of your first attack is going to be reduced by 1 just as a base right away without you having to spend anything.
Okay.
So you can
And how do I gain
choose to proceed
points
how you
back?
like. So you can recover up to 4 times a day.
Okay.
The first recovery costs 1 action, takes only the time of 1 action. Then it's a minute, then 10 minutes.
yes.
So it's on the character sheet there. You can see
I remember that.
each time you recover, you roll a d6, and you can put those points wherever you like.
Cool. I will. All right, that's cool. All right.
What I will
thank
say is,
you, Hilden, as well. Welcome to the adventure.
Hilden, you're a gentleman and a scholar.
Indeed.
He's getting it.
Yeah, we're getting there. What I'll say, Cord, when you sort of extend and demonstrate your weapon, you're clearly not thinking that this is going to be just a sort of knuckle brawl. During the sort of initiative phase, these guys are all going to sort of pull back their tunics, and you're going to see they're reaching for daggers and short swords.
Yeah. I figured these guys are more of out of hate than just muscle. Sure. Let's see. He's gonna. So the general or the captain
The sergeant, yeah.
that I'm speaking to, the sergeant. I guess I'm just gonna try to do like a low lunge, and then also like try to like go under and stab up into his belly with the or like slice
Cool.
it under his ribs with the blade.
Cool. So he's a level 3 creature, whereas the other guys are 2.
Okay.
So as a level 3 creature, the base difficulty would be 3 to land the hit. But because of your crit, you can describe narratively however you like that you get an automatic advantage. It's only a base of 2 to land the hit on this guy right now.
All right, I'm just gonna do it.
Cool.
Yes.
Bam.
So yeah, I haven't. All right. I don't want to jinx myself, but yeah, he like I said, he probably saw them start to do the like. They went to draw their swords when I was talking, or when I kind of tried to do my intimidation there with the unsheathing of my blade, and then with like a flourish, I duck underneath and duck my head and just stick probably right under between the floating ribs is where I stick the tip of this blade.
Vicious. Okay.
Just a tip.
Just the tip.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't want to scare him and like
You don't want to go all
make it
7
really
inches
uncomfortable
in.
immediately, you know. So yeah, so 2 damage, right?
First time always hurts.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. So you get a good stab on this guy. Obviously, he's sort of still standing. He kind of screams, "Oh, Jesus!" And it's escalating very quickly, faster than they might have expected. Will, I'll say that you are immediately appreciating some of the prowess, however you want to describe it, of Jekyll. Not only, I mean, maybe the moral question is one to dwell on, given that he just jumped right in for a stab during this bar brawl, but he did the stab really well. He well executed that stab.
I kind of nod appreciatively in my head. Good blow.
So before Will gets to take his turn, these 3 brutes and their sergeant are all going to act. One of the brutes is going to turn and just sort of, as he's unsheathing, make for like a really clumsy slash at you, Cord. So it's going to be a speed defense task. Now again, in Numenera, players roll actively to dodge rather than the GM rolling. So level 2 soldier brutishly unsheathing and trying to slash Cord, you need to make a speed defense task of 2 as the base. And again, you can spend effort on it and all the different things can apply.
I will not with a success.
Cool. Describe your dodge as he sort of horizontally swings as he unsheaths.
I mean, it's easy because I'm already ducking. Probably I do the stab, and then when he goes... Actually, that's probably... He went to attack me, and then that's when I duck.
Cool.
And then I, like, let that sailed above, like, towards my ear and probably unhooded me. And then that's when I just sunk the tip of the blade into the captain's or the sergeant's chest.
Cool. So he's going to respond. He's going to immediately sort of just bash at the inside of your elbow to get your arm away to get that hand blade out of his gut. And then he's just going to really crudely sort of swing a fist to try and get you away. So again, speed defense task, but against this sergeant, the base difficulty is 3.
Okay, I think it'll be fine.
Okay, successful again. So you dodge this haymaker.
And this is... Oh yeah, he probably is gonna stand up slightly and kind of like with his left hand grab the fist.
Cool. Sure you don't want to slunk away? Okay.
No. He's gonna like stop it.
Grab it. Cool. All right, the other 2 are going to come right at you. Will, unfortunately, even without you having drawn a weapon, things have escalated. Their sergeant was just stabbed. So they both have drawn their short swords, and they swing at you. So 2 speed defense tasks, both base difficulty of 2.
I am good at this. I am...
Trained
it's one of my trained. So is that -1?
Yeah, so
Just
the base is only a 1 for you.
Okay. Cool. So that's a failure. Did I do that? And that is a nat 20.
Nice.
Okay, now I gave you an XP, so you could spend the XP if you wanted to re-roll the failure. No sweat, you don't have to, but just
I'll play it as he takes a blow to see how good they are at punching. So
okay.
Let us see how you do.
And then I'll say on your 20 as a crit, as a major effect, you can disarm the second guy who tried to hit you. So however you want to describe that.
Yeah, I turn uses momentum to grab his arm, turn around, take whatever weapon he was holding, and throw it to the floor.
Cool. So you took 2 might damage from the guy who did land a chop.
So my might pool is 12 then. Now.
Yeah. And now it is
cool.
It's your go.
Okay. I draw my sword, as these guys are also using weaponry, and I go to the one that punched me. I go in for a thrust, and I'll be using my ability, which is thrust. So I have +1, my +1 damage. So I've got a +2 to my attack modifier, and it will do 4 damage.
Okay, I think it's.
So how do I roll?
So I think it's not a +2 to the attack modifier. It's +2 damage.
Oh, okay.
So it ends up being a total.
Okay. Yeah.
Of
Oh no, you're right.
damage.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So when you're thrusting,
Yeah, I'm used to my
+3
D&D.
damage. Yeah, it's all good. So still just a base 2 to hit these guys.
Okay. I'm practiced with all the weapons.
You wouldn't quite be
weapon
trained.
master.
Yeah, practice just means you
no,
can use them without a negative. Yeah.
It's not a physical performing art, is it? So,
I mean, I would hear the case. I would hear that argument through.
I mean, he's pretty graceful, but I mean, it would be in this. It's just a bar fight, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like. I'd try and pull it off if it was like a master duel where he's pulling out all his sick moves, but he's just.
Yeah, I'll say like if you were mid dance and then we're like doing and then we're like, oh, I'm actually here to kill you.
So I was doing some interpretive dance. I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a free, a demanding, is it?
No, difficulty 2 because Cord's the one squaring off against the captain.
Cool.
He's 3.
So it has 0 successes.
Whew.
God
Okay,
damn.
struggling. So, yeah, you let one of them take a quick sort of slash at your side a little bit. Notice, okay, these guys can actually, identify my armor's weak spots. They can see where to actually draw blood. So the next guy who tries to slash you, just quickly do a pop, pop, disarm him. And then in drawing your sword, you try to attack. But unfortunately, he sort of ducks down now that he's unarmed. He was quick to jump to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Back to Cord.
Sorry.
Cool.
Just decided to kick my water bottle over. I'll clean that later. So
you've got the captain in front of you, and you've got one of his little grunts beside you.
Cool. Can I flip the guy's wrist around and try to slice his veins in his wrist? Like the
Totally, yeah.
wrist. Yeah. I'm gonna try to do that.
Yeah.
What would the difficulty be on that? That's
Yeah,
probably
so again,
right?
super like linear because he's a level 3 character. All his difficulties.
dLinear.
Basically. Am I right? Right. So all of his difficulties are going to start as a 3.
Okay. That's how that works. All right. Cool.
I mean, you could sort of complicate it and make it like a might task turned into an attack thing, but I'll say this is just going to function like an attack because you're trying to make for the cut, and he'll be trying to dodge and get away and all those things. So.
I'm proficient in light weapons, so that brings me down to 2.
You would need training in light weapons. Proficiency is light weapons automatically reduce the difficulty by 1. They're slightly easier to use because they're light. So light weapons inherently reduced by 1, and then you could take training again. Yeah.
But I have it. I have training.
Proficiency is kind of like the base level before you're trained. So it goes proficiency,
so I should uncheck
training,
all these boxes.
Specialization.
Okay, so
but
to first start and make my character, they're unchecked boxes, and then I have to go for training. Okay. All right. So it's a difficulty of 2 because it was a 3, and then I have a minus. All right. Cool.
Yep. So you're holding this fist. You're going to give it a twist and then like try and slash across with your hand blade.
Oh, finally, I missed.
Whew. Okay. So not only do you miss on a crit 1, I can intrude without having to give you an XP.
Great.
So you try to sort of twist his wrist while you're swinging your other hand around to cut with the blade. And he does a sort of double move where he pulls his hand out from your grasp, grabs your wrist with your hand blade, and he just tears your hand blade off and throws it against the wall with his other hand.
Sweet. Okay.
Alrighty. So now back to his buddy. His buddy is going to make just a stab at you. So speed defense of 2 as you're now unarmed.
Sweet. Speed. Yeah, okay. So it's 2.
Yep.
Success.
Cool. So you manage to sort of twist away from this side stab that's coming at you from the grunt, and then the captain is actually going to try and grab you in like a chokehold with his hand now that he's disarmed you. So it's still going to be a speed defense task. This time base difficulty 3 because it's the sergeant we're dealing with, but he's trying to grapple you. He's trying to grab at your neck.
Cool. He's 3. I reduce it by... No, I don't. Okay. Good speed, though, if I can, because I have a bunch.
Yeah, you can spend speed points to reduce it if you like.
Yeah, but I spend 3. And
you spend three speed points, and it would make it a 2.
Mm-hmm. And I have 11 out of my 14, and if I rest, I get 6 back, allocate wherever I want.
Well, 1d6, depending on how it rolls.
1d6. Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, even cooler. All right, I'll do it at 3. And
Chokeslam through the table. It's coming. This is a table
there
and
it
chair.
is.
TLC. All right. Where's the ladder? Okay.
I got 0 successes.
It's John Cena. Okay.
His name is John Cena.
Yeah, so he grabs at your neck. Doesn't do any damage this round, but he's got you in a grapple. And he is going to be just squeezing the life out of your neck, sort of suffocating you. So next round, you'll be making might defense tasks. And you will have a harder time dodging the swords, as one might expect, as you were grabbed by the neck. So back to Will, sort of on the other side of this little scuffle. You've got a disarmed man who jumped to the ground. He's going to sort of scuffle past you to try and get to his sword, and that's going to use up his turn, sort of getting his sword, getting back up off the ground. But otherwise, he won't attack you. And his friend, who's already managed to land a little cut against you, is going to try to do so again. So difficulty task 2. Speed defense, so for you, it's a 1.
Yes, awesome. And also, whilst I'm speaking, to remind everyone that we are only a few followers away from a viewer decision, which means that when we hit 600 followers, which is, I don't know how many away?
600. Wow, that flew by.
7, something like that. You guys get to decide anything that happens. So get following if you haven't already. And difficulty 2. John Cena might show up. Difficulty 2, is that Mitch?
Difficulty 2 is a base, but it's speed defense again, so you get to make it a 1.
Cool. Watch me fail. Oh, good. Yeah, I dodge.
All right, so you're still handling your own there against those two, and now you can respond in kind.
Cool. I dodge their blows. I go between their swords and turn around on the one who's retrieved his weapon now to hit him with a thrust. Nice thrust. So what difficulty am I doing?
These guys are level 2, so it's always starts as a 2.
Okay, always a 2. I'm just getting the hang of that. Cool.
Yep.
That's a success.
There we go. So how much damage does your wicked sword do?
It does 4, and the modifier says 2. So I have a +1. It's a thrust. I have a +1 because I'm a weapon master, and I have a +1 damage with my samurai sword. So I think I do 6.
You can describe a killing blow.
Cool. I come in between their blades and go in for a thrust through his probably his stomach lining and rip it out. And as he goes down, I like the blood from my sword flows off down the I don't know what you call it on the sword, but there's that thing in the middle where it all flows down. It's great.
The channel, the sword channel, the sword.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called. I thought I knew, but I don't.
The blood vein. Yeah.
Blood vein.
It sounds like a metal band.
Cool. So you eviscerate this guy.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, so we are back to Cord. Cord, you are pretty thoroughly grappled. You can either try to make unarmed attacks against this guy to just deal some more damage, or you can use your turn to actually try and get out of his choke.
I can do what? Sorry, I was trying to. What was it? It's I can get out of the choke, and then.
Yeah, so he's got you, he's held you, so you can either just make unarmed attacks and just kick and punch and try to deal damage to this guy, or you can use your turn to try and get out of the chokehold. So take a more defensive turn to get out of the grapple.
Can I judge from here if that other guy is still going to attack me?
Oh yeah, he's within 5 feet of you, so he's there. He's angry. You stabbed his captain kidney.
If he still looks aggressive towards me, I want to use the guy behind me as a shield. So I want to take control of this grapple, and I want this guy to take the damage, hopefully, if this guy hits me. It's a lot of theory going on.
Sure. So you're trying to command the grapple,
I want to take control of this grapple.
Cool. So I'm going to need a might task, base difficulty 3.
Okay. I'm going to spend some might.
Okay.
To make it difficulty 2.
Alrighty.
Good. I've spent so much.
Beautiful.
Might.
Beautiful.
Right.
No, that's good. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest learning curve for people in the system is actually actively spending their points to try and control their story. Yeah, so it's good you guys are getting it. So you try as best you can. You give every ounce of effort to try and get your feet down. He's kind of starting to lift you up a little bit. and you're trying to get out of his grapple, but you can't quite get out of his sort of iron grip that this soldier's got on you. So going right to his turn, he's going to just sort of squeeze at your neck, lifting you up, and he's going to give you a big shot. So you're not going to be able to make. Well, I'll let you make a speed defense task, but it's going to be more difficult because he's holding you. This will essentially be for you to try and parry his punch with like either putting up your knee or like using your elbows or something like that.
My pools are also my health too, right?
They sure are. Yeah.
Ah, crap! I've been spending so much. I've been doing well figuring that out, but then I realized that's also my health. All right, crap.
Okay, so a speed defense task, base difficulty 4, to sort of deflect his unarmed whack as he lifts you off the ground a little bit.
Sweet. I needed that. All right.
Cool. So you can lift a knee or drop an elbow, whatever you like, as he tries to punch you.
Yeah, I'm gonna lift a knee.
Okay. Good.
Probably.
So he doesn't land his hit, but he still has you, just an inch off the ground. So his buddy with the sword is going to make an attack, and again, the difficulty is raised because of it. So instead of base 2, it's a base 3 to avoid this stab as you're kind of twisting and writhing off the ground, trying not to get cut open.
All right.
There we go. So you're taking 2 might damage.
Sweet. Cool.
And because you're sort of struggling and twisting so much, it's not going to be too critical. But he does manage to get a decent gash, like right on your hip, sort of up into your side a little bit. And back to Will. So you've just sort of cut open one of these 2 soldiers. The other is now kind of enraged by this, and you can tell sort of assessing his sort of combat style, his composure, doing your sort of martial analytics. He's now furious. That was his buddy to some degree, and he's going to recklessly swing at you. So
I don't know if you've seen the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock.
Yeah.
Where he does the slow mo, like
yeah.
his eyes are golden. All this stuff.
So we'll say like the minute he sees his buddy get cut open, slow motion, his eyes, his pupils just dilate. His face goes white a little bit. His knuckles sort of clench, like he's about to throw himself on you with his sort of reckless strikes, and that's going to increase the difficulty of dodging because he's just going to back and forth hack like crazy. So instead of a base 2, it's a base 3, but then because of your speed defense, it just becomes its normal 2 if you're tracking.
Okay.
So difficulty 2, yeah.
0 successes. I am rolling.
He manages to get. We'll say this is like 2 or 3 small cuts on you that he manages in his sort of whirlwind, but you take another 2 might damage.
Cool. Shout out to Sydney's mum. He's watching apparently. And thank you, Super Dude, 2062 for following. Welcome to the adventure, my friend.
2062. I wonder what's going to happen then.
Oh no, a super dude.
Terrible things.
I'm sure it'll be super. Cool. So you take 2 might damage as this guy goes into a blind fury at you having killed his friend.
Damn.
And back to Cord.
Right.
Stuck in John Cena's claw.
Numenera Cena. All right.
And his name.
I've spent so much. Okay, so he is stuck without his weapon. That guy just sliced me. Is that what he did?
Yeah. So the sergeant who's holding you hasn't even drawn a weapon. You stabbed him. He tried to punch you. You grabbed his fist. He ripped off your weapon, grabbed you by the neck, lifted you up, tried to punch you. And there's just been a guy beside you, hopelessly trying to stab you.
But he stabbed
this whole
me.
time. Yeah, he did get you there.
Yeah, he got me that last time. Okay. Can I lift my legs up and try to grapple with my legs that guy who's just stabbed me?
Absolutely.
I want to try to use this guy and lift up and try to wrap my legs around his armpit and the back of his neck, and I just want to grapple him into this. So
okay.
What's the difficulties 2?
Base difficulty 2, and I'll say because it's sort of more dexterity related than strength, it'll be a speed right? Task, speed attack. Yeah.
So, and if I wanted to, and that only matters if I want to spend points, right?
Yep. Yeah. So identifying whether it's speed, might, or intellect just lets you burn points to reduce
from
difficulty
that pool by identifying. Yep. Okay. And that's 2. I don't
2
know.
is base, yeah.
I don't know if I want to burn or not because I've been burning so much. I think I'm gonna go with the 2, which is times 3. That's a 6 difficulty on the dice.
Yeah,
All right,
should be in your favor. There you go. Okay, so absurd visual. Cord is being held up by the neck by this Imperial sort of infantry captain who's been trying to punch at him. Cord has been thrashing violently and then managed to somehow grapple the other swordsman with his legs while being choked by this captain. So now the 3 of you are tangled in this very frightening dance.
Okay.
So cool.
Okay, so the the swordsman who's now kind of grappled by you is going to sort of hopelessly try and just like hack and slash with his sword. Normally he would have an advantage on doing this because you're being grappled currently by the captain, but that's sort of discounted or neutralized by the fact that you're grappling him. So you still have to kind of wiggle quite a bit to manage to not get slashed. And this can account for sort of you're adjusting your grapple with your legs. You sort of kick, you twist, you squeeze certain ways, whatever. But I need a speed defense task that stays at the base of 2 to not get slashed by this.
Okay. Sorry, just 1 second. My cat jumped off of my fridge and knocked over the screen, and that distracted me. All right, so this guy's coming at me.
Yeah, so you're grappling him with your legs, and he's still trying to like wiggle his sword around.
And it's a speed 2.
Speed 2.
I'll just take it.
I can
There we
see
go,
his
success.
fridge.
Okay, so no dice. You adjust your legs, whatever need be, twisting and sort of thrashing, maybe a kick here and there, and he doesn't land. The captain, however, is going to pull out a dagger and try and end this by stabbing very precisely, sort of under your ribs, trying to go up into your lung. So I need a speed defense task of 3.
Seen this fridge immersion ruined. Do they have fridges? I guess they don't in this world.
I'm sure there is some like praised artifact
yeah.
the whole town has been built around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Myth, you are somehow not getting too wounded. I know you're low on points, but still, this deadlock between the 3 of you that's could be much worse than it is right now. And Will, you are lined up against the one guy who's left. He did his desperate throws, but otherwise, you may respond.
I see Jeckley's in trouble, and I go
not
to.
It's fine. Get out of here.
I see the guard captain, Murphy, and I go to slash his throat to kill the headless serpent.
Okay.
So he's a level 3. So
Yeah, that's the base.
okay.
I'll say you can have an asset. So again, you guys are always free to sort of like pitch assets to me, like, oh, circumstantially because of this, like, would it be easier because? I'll give you one here
he's distracted, maybe.
because he is tangled in this like absurd menage a trois grapple. It'll be slightly easier for you to land this hit, so it becomes a 2.
Just the way I
Okay.
like it.
Just the way I like him too. I can't roll.
You can
today.
spend an XP to reroll if you like.
Yeah, go on then. I'll use the one that you gave me
Okay.
before to reroll to save Jeckley. Hopefully, 1 success.
Here we go.
Huzzah.
You can describe a killing blow to this captain.
Cool. I kind of he stops like he's very still for a moment and then looks over to where Jeckley's like having this intense like brawl, and I've been like dancing around very very gracefully, and I stop and I look over to I look over to the captain, and then I bring my sword across my body to his throat, slice it, and then as he falls to the ground, I nod to Jeckley and return to my own duel.
So do I fall?
Yeah, you definitely sort of fall, but you're
I'm like
still
dangling
maintaining-
now.
Now you're
The other
upside
guys-
down, and you're like,
Yeah.
hey.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so Cord, it is your turn. The captain is dead. There's one sort of enraged soldier who's off to where Will just came from, but also there's the guy that you're grappling somehow, and you're now upside down.
Cool. So we just we have a couple new viewers. So what just happened is we're in a bar fight. We're fighting guards. We've got Will who's playing Sito. He's a space samurai.
Sito.
Seto. And I
I'm
am
not a
playing
space samurai.
well, whatever.
He's
And
wearing
You're in bamboo, man.
he's a traveling, he's a traveling swordsman, and I'm playing some sort of, I don't know, machine douchebag so far, and we are in a fight. I just got into like a weird neck lock with a guard giving me a chokehold,
Neck job.
He's giving me a neck job and from behind, and I lifted and grappled another dude. Will's character just killed the guy who was holding me, and now I'm dangling upside down on this other dude with my legs
so
wrapped around.
there was a three-way grapple.
Yeah.
There's a captain sort of holding Cord by the neck, and then Cord lifted his legs to grab the other guy, so he was kind of suspended horizontally. And then when the captain who was holding his neck was just killed by Will's character, Cord is now kind of upside down, holding onto his legs to this other guard. So it's
And we're only
with the
4
momentum-
was away from 600 as well.
4.
So-
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
those of you who just joined, we have a viewer decision at every 50 followers. So we're 4 away from a new viewer decision.
and anyone who knows the Numenera world, just look up something called the Iron Wind. That seems to have come up in chat a couple times as one of the strong options for the viewer poll. Please do not send Will or Cord a description of what the Iron Wind is, and Will stop Googling it right now.
I don't know
because it
what that
would be more fun when it happens.
is. Yeah. I don't know what that is, but I'm excited to know. So yes, everybody click that follow button and let's see what that is, if that's an option. I'm going to use the momentum of my falling body to bring this guy to the ground, probably face first. So like I imagine I'm falling like my back towards the ground, like back first, and then I'm going to try to twist my body so I could wrench my thighs to wrench his face and arm into probably like a table or even just the hard surface of the ground, hopefully knocking him out.
Yeah, so what I'll say is you can do this regardless, but the roll will be to determine whether or not it does damage. Because it may be such that your momentum, you fall and you both just kind of fall and tangle, and he doesn't take any major sort of thumps. But if you can make, again, it'll be a speed task because you're kind of trying to orient dexterity-wise, get this to land just right. You'll be able to do some damage to this guy.
All right. He's a 2, right?
Base 2.
Oh.
Whew, okay, critical.
When I miss.
Not only do you not manage to do that, but he sort of, your momentum, he sees that you're about to drop, and so he just sort of sticks his hands up and sort of breaks out of your leg lock, whatever that was called, breaks out of the leg lock, and you are now prone in front of him. You can take 1 might damage from the awkward fall where you landed.
Knocking the wind out of me. Like right on my back,
and he's now standing over you, and unfortunately it's his turn, so now the difficulty is going to be even harder to not get stabbed, because you're prone, he's got the upper grounds, so it'll be difficulty 3 to not get stabbed by this bloke.
This would be a speed to try to dodge if I wanted to.
Speed defense, yeah.
Okay. That was a 3. All right, that's up to the best. Yes.
There you go.
Probably my eyes widen as I take a couple a very minuscule moment to catch my breath, and then I roll out of the way, or I probably hit the ground, roll out of the way, and then probably get on all fours and start to heave and try to catch my breath.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right, and Will, the enraged compatriot, who you sort of left a couple steps to the side, is going to sort of follow right behind you as you step up to kill the captain. So as Cord is falling and twisting and lands on the ground and gets stabbed at, this guy is going to do another one of his furious back and forths. So difficulty of 3 because he's all pissed off. Speed defense though, so for you becomes a 2.
Okay. That's a failure. I have rolled like 10 2s this game.
I mean, I hope it's genuine, but I mean, with all the internet weird shit, who knows? Who knows?
I've been cursed.
Difficulty 2 across the board, or like needing a 6 on a 20 is not crazy. All right, so you take another 2 might damage as this guy keeps sort of hacking at your sides. He realizes that your sort of bamboo plate thing sort of comes down the front, and it's kind of weak on the sides.
That was weak. Yes.
So he's beneath the neck.
At the end of the day, it's just bamboo. It's not like titanium or anything.
Yeah. So he gets another couple slashes, and you can respond in kind immediately.
Yeah. I take the blows and turn around to try and finish this guy off for on a 2, which will no doubt be a failure. Oh my god!
Okay,
I'm going better. I'm going the right way.
Will and Cord can both take an XP just for the number of rolls that have been horrendous. So that'll be
Okay.
my attempt to mitigate this situation, this bar fight.
I mean, I
turn.
rolled pretty well. I was just there was 2 that I failed twice, so it's. But I'll take the XP.
Okay, and after Will, we go back to Cord. At this point, all the other patrons, there were probably about 6 or 7 of them, have all sort of rushed out the back door. So at this point, as you guys seeing over your shoulder, Will sort of turning back and forth from the 2 that you were fighting. The place is pretty much empty. You can just see the barkeep at the back, the guy with the mustache. He's not as concerned maybe as you'd expect, but he's just sort of like sitting on a chair, sort of keeping an eye on things. You can't see one of his hands. It's tucked under the bar somewhere, but he's got one arm up on the bar and he's just sort of watching intently. This is all happening at the far end of the front door. Remember, this place is like a long barn. He's definitely got a grill down there. Yeah.
So I saw a grill in the background.
Oh yeah, there's a grill. There's a grill here, yeah. Grill turns on the lights.
Uh-oh.
It's good. But yeah, so the barkeep's kind of got his arm up at the bar. He's watching intently, 40 feet down, other end, and he's got his other hand tucked on something behind the bar. Definitely not a shotgun. It's for sure not a shotgun.
Gotcha.
But he didn't leave. He stayed here to watch over his place.
Not a shotgun gun. Okay.
Yeah.
My turn? Whose turn is it? I'm sorry.
We're back to Cord.
Got it. Right. So I'm on the ground. I just rolled over. This guy stabbed at me. Where is he now? Is he still kind of in that position of short sword stab?
Yeah. Standing over you, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to... Can I take out one of my arrows from my bow and stab him with it?
Yeah, big time.
Kind of like get up on one leg and just
Do a Legolas.
yeah, I guess. Not Legolas. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, just like jamming into his thigh.
Yeah, looking for an artery. Probably the back of his knee is probably where the most. Took an arrow to the knee. But yeah, he's probably gonna go up and just go and stick in the back of his leg, like downward towards his calf.
Cool.
And this is a speed. It doesn't matter. 2, because I'm not gonna spend anything. Yep. Okay.
I used to be a treasure like you.
Cool. So this can be damage based on like. So how much damage does your bow normally deal?
4. So it's a medium.
I'll say this can deal 4. So I know it's not quite the same as like firing the arrow, but you're given a full stab down.
It's a full barbed arrow, probably, yes, through the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll still be 4 damage. So this guy grabs at his leg. He drops his sword. He sort of falls to the ground, clutching at where you've sort of stabbed this thing in, and he sees the barbs and he's kind of staring at them like, oh fuck, he knows that's not coming out the way it went in, and he sort of falls down and he's sort of on his ass.
Cool.
Right. So he's pretty well neutralized, and at this point the other guy, because he's in a rage, normally I wouldn't do the kind of mop up, but he wants nothing but your head on a stick. So another speed defense, difficulty 3, as he sees another one of his fellow soldiers go down.
Yeah. So normally 3. I've got trained in speed defense, so it's another 2. Can I roll a 6 on a 1d20? Yes, I can.
There you go. So you parry, and then you can immediately attack back in kind or respond in kind.
Yeah, there's a series of parries before goes in for the thrust. I guess because he's so raging, he's like unbalanced, and then he kind of trips and then just falls onto my blade.
Yeah, you can do one of the like knock his leg out and just like hold the sword up for him to.
To fall. Yeah,
I want to. Yeah, cool. You can describe a kill.
Yeah, I mean, I probably trip him. I probably like sidestep, trip. He falls to the ground. I thrust down into the small of his back, and nasty.
Cool. So we are out of initiative. You now have this small pile of Imperial corpses, all wearing uniforms. One of whom is still alive. One of them is not a corpse, but he's hurting. And I do want to take a 2-minute break. I just got to run to the washroom. But otherwise we'll continue right on.
Okay. Cool. Check your Facebook messages real quick, mate.
Yes.
When you get a sec. So hey everyone in chat. Hello new people. Hello old people. Cool.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Need to send you a message, Mitch.
I'm checking Facebook right now.
I don't have you on Facebook, do I?
Did you just tell me to check my Facebook?
Oh no, sorry, that was called. I will chat to you in Google Hangouts.
Okay.
So how's it going, everyone in chat? How are we feeling? Feeling good? Let's get in the dungeon. Amazing amount of new followers today. It's great to see you here for the first episode of Numenera. There'll be 2 new players joining us tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next week even. Which is Josh and Beth. Will be back with us next week on Wednesday. Beth's taking a week off to start a new job. And what else is happening on Wednesday? We're doing the first session of Out of the Abyss, which I will be DMing, which is Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. That will be the new book out from Wizards of the Coast called Out of the Abyss, and that's going to be a lot of fun. We did a lot of map creation today on that, and then on Thursday we're playing the D&D West Marches. I'm going to get a guest on that. We haven't confirmed exactly who it is yet, but on Thursday we're going to have some players, and that's going to be some interesting shenanigans. We need to do some prep for that. And then on Saturday, the 26th, this Saturday, we are doing a 24-hour D&D game. D&D stream. We'll be doing different games throughout the day, and I'll be giving away a copy of this, which is the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition Player's Handbook, which is a brand spanking new copy, which came only the other day, and this is just for you guys. So if you come along on the 26th, then you can win one of those. Cleric says, Out of the Abyss sounds really fun from what I've been reading. It is a lot of fun, actually. We did some stuff earlier, and it was good. Haven't got the hard copy with me yet, but I was reading the PDF, which you can get on D&D Adventurers League if you have the password, and it's good. It needs some changes for like my own personal DMing style, but it's good fun. Delinear is very good at GMing. Characters are really interesting. The system is fresh and new. Not sure about the Numenera world yet. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that we get to explore, which I'm looking forward to. One of the things I'm most looking forward to is exploring this new world. And me and Cord were just messaging saying how much we like the system.
Cool.
Whilst we're doing that combat. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, Cleric, that's a Drist adventure. I mean, he's not really in it. They've done quite well to shy away from him being the main focus of it. But he does focus in it. The promo content which they released for Out of the Abyss was like, Driz does this, Driz does all this, and you actually read the book, there's like a paragraph on him, so they clever promo. And by the way, Mitch, if you look in the Google Hangout chat, there's some stuff going on, and Cord is checking about that. Sydney says, my mum thinks this is neat. Gotta get the whole family playing. You will never be sure about the Numenera world. Embrace it. Embrace the darkness. Hello, darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Is Cord still...
Yeah, he's still checking.
Okay.
About something or other. But yeah, only 4 followers away from 600. It seems like only the other week since we're at 500. I think it actually probably was the other week. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Viewer decision is always fun. Last time there was a Kraken in parts of Cold Harbor. Before that, what happened before that? Moldark appeared, character from the Broken Kingdoms, demon. There's been some crazy stuff happen from viewer decisions.
There was an ogre that showed up that was in heat.
Oh god, yeah.
That was interesting.
Who wanted to marry Beth?
It could have been a lot messier than it was. Will was very, very tactful in his dealing with having to incorporate that as the GM. You can't be racist when it comes to ogres. You could offend a lot of people. Yeah, you want to make sure that they have their proper screen time.
Yeah, exactly. it's all about diversity, really.
But the ogre was also the ogre in heat, but it was like romantically predisposed to. Was it Beth's character? Like, it was the elf? It was the smallest, slightest. Yeah. The most uncomfortable.
Cool. Cord is good.
Cool.
I am here. Sorry, I had to because we have to order dinner, and I needed to figure out what the lady wanted. But yes, I am here.
Grill's got to eat.
Grill's gotta eat.
So are you good with that, Mitch?
I'm not seeing the group chat stuff. I just see.
Oh, if you click on the blue tab on the left, it should be chat, I think.
Yeah, no, it's not loading. I see your first message. Can we continue
okay.
for later?
1 hour was the next bit.
Extended beyond for an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So cool. We're going for an extra hour.
I've been
Awesome.
running
I'm looking forward.
Shadow
I'm
of
enjoying
Mordor.
this too much to stop right now.
Yeah, me too.
So
I've been running Shadow of Mordor in the background this entire time. This should probably help stream a bit.
there we go.
That's the
Right,
reason
so
why
we,
Will doesn't have internet.
It's called always called.
Americans. being
Yeah.
lazy and
Always
not
it's
exiting out
America
of their
taking
windows.
up all my internet.
Always the Americans, yeah.
So yeah,
Blame America.
cool.
Yeah, I'm having too much
I'm
fun
good.
too. I was texting Will, or I was Facebook messaging Will, being like, I can't. This is amazing.
I don't like this. I don't like this collusion outside of what I can hear. It's
Yeah, it happens all too often. He whispers things to me.
cool. All right. Give me 20 seconds. I'm just gonna throw more tweets that we're going for longer.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Everybody
let's-
do it too, not just us. Everybody in chat.
Let me get a
start tweeting.
tweet up and I'll.
Yeah, Monty Cook Games, the guys and gals who wrote Numenera, they're super good on Twitter. They're really good. So throw tweets at them.
Well, I've had loads of notifications. I should have read these.
I'll just reply to one of our old tweets. There we go.
I don't know if Ingy's in chat, but Will doesn't get to talk.
More live Numenera.
That was cool. Hilden was saying that he saw the tweet and was and came over from the retweet off of Monty Cook
Cool.
Games. That's pretty.
Cool.
Nice.
Da-da-da. There we go.
So we just
Good.
finished the as this is happening. I'm kind of just wiping the blood from the sword, letting it drain down onto the
The
floor.
blood vein. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have just killed in, I would say, lukewarm blood. Definitely, it didn't start as heated blood, but it wasn't quite cold blood. You just killed 4 Navarrene Imperial soldiers, one of whom was a sergeant. The other 3 were his cronies. There's one of them who's still alive, actually. He's got an arrow stabbed back through his knee, and it's sort of back barbed, and it's coming out sort of, I guess, his quad muscle. And he's sort of staring pretty intently at that, although he's already started sort of compressing with his hands around it and sort of getting ready to start to try and break off the arrowhead so he can get this out of his knee. All the while, he's sort of grumbling sort of through gritted teeth. You fucking bastards, you have no idea, you can't. Oh, you're going to pay for this, you're going to pay for this. So he's starting to mutter curses at all the pain you will suffer at the hands of the Imperials once they find out that you've killed their servicemen on leave within their borders. Perfect answer, both of you.
Oh
Um,
god!
That escalated quickly.
So Jeckley is going to kick his short sword away from him and walk over, or I guess saunter over to his wrist blade, strap it back on, extend it, and then bring it to his throat and be like, "That pass is still available."
Yeah, he's still sort of focusing on his knee as best he can. It's still quite painful for him. Obviously, it's kind of excruciating. He's kind of, you hold his head back with the knife there, but he says, "Oh, what do you want? What do you want? You've already killed my commanding officer and my 3 brothers. What am I supposed to do?"
Get out. Get out and never
Return.
return. Run away.
Run away, Simba.
No, get out
Come
and never
back.
look at someone who's not from. Insert where we're from.
Leave now and never come back.
What was our region that Sito is not from?
Well, I don't know
he's
Sito, but if nothing else, Cord, for your origin story that's going to be on Saturday,
Yeah.
I will say, if you're okay, because you were sort of non-specific, you didn't really care where you were from.
Nope.
I'll say that you were coming from the capital city in Navarrene, and that's
sense.
where your shenanigans went on, and that's where you're kind of leaving the Empire.
So
based on
they
what
were making fun of him because he was a non-Neverine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. get out and never speak of a non-Neverine Illy again. Spread the word. Tell him I sent you.
He's going to look up at you, and you can start to see that he's getting a little bit white in the face. He's sweating quite a bit. Looks like quite a cool sweat. He's going to sort of spit towards you through sort of bloodied teeth. He's going to say, "Well, you expect me to run with this fucking leg?" So he's clearly sitting down. He's not physically going anywhere.
I don't care how.
There is no need to disrespect. You have lost. Accept your defeat honorably.
And walk away honorably. I guess as best you can.
Yeah, he's going to sort of be wide-eyed at you, Will. He's not really tracking this code of honor that you're speaking of, and he's kind of obviously thrown off a little bit from it. And he's just going to look left and right and give you guys the side eye as he sort of tries to roll onto his stomach and I guess kind of crawl on sort of 3 limbs, 2 elbows and a knee, just sort of dragging his limp leg, muttering all the while, kind of in disbelief that he's dragging himself out.
If you can't take the pain, you can always take this. And I throw the film canister at him.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, nice. And that's with the paralyzing pill.
That's the paralyzing. That's the
stone
cipher
pill, yeah.
that is a stone pill. You turn into a stone
Gotcha.
for 28
Turns
hours.
to stone. Cord, call high or low.
Hi.
Ooh. Okay, he takes the pill on the spot.
Whoops.
Oh, I look at you like, what?
So you sort of you passingly toss in this little film canister. He's only gotten 2 feet, towards the door, streaking blood. And you say, pedantically, "Oh, take this if you can't handle the pain." And he's obviously in quite a lot of pain, both emotionally as well as physically. And he sees this thing hit the ground, and he hears a sort of clink, and he sort of like rips it open and sees that it's a pill, and doesn't even hesitate, just like pops the pill, and then immediately turns to stone, lying sort of on the ground, bleeding leg, with the canister gestured towards his mouth, and he literally becomes a statue.
I turn to Jackley and say, "Why did you do that?"
Do what? Should probably get
Give
the
him-
statue out of here.
Okay, at
Give
this
him
point,
that pill.
it is far time that the barkeep voiced his opinion on what's been going on.
Yeah.
So you're going to see the older gentleman with the mustache sort of slowly walking up from the bar, kind of muttering to himself. He's holding in his hand what looks like a strange kind of glove, I guess is the best way you would describe it. It's definitely mechanical in some capacity, and it sort of extends with a bit of a sort of barrel where his sort of fingers would be, and all you can see is his thumb sort of comes out of it and then wraps back in. So he's got some kind of device strapped to his hand that he's sort of keeping at his side. But otherwise, he's walking up, staring at the bodies, just talking to himself, more in disbelief. He's saying, no. These boys can't be here. You can't be killing soldiers in the tavern. This is your fault. This is all your fault. You've got to deal with these bodies. Get these bodies out of here. So he's very distressed.
Is there not a priest to deal with the bodies of the dead? They should return to the earth.
He says, "You better return to the earth real fast before anyone notices that there are imperial corpses here in my tavern."
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. How disrespectful of us. And I try to actually genuinely try to help
Is
him.
this respectful? Oh, I bow to him. I apologize.
And I start dragging a corpse.
Okay, and again,
If
the bow falls on deaf ears, shoulders,
Yeah.
whatever.
He's like, "Oh, this is their custom. Oh God, I'm showing up. I'm acting up."
Where Seto's like, "Oh, I've bowed. Everything's good now." It's okay.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
I made my apology. Yeah.
yeah, all is forgiven. But I do turn back to Jackley, pointing at the statue, and say,
Why would you do this to this man?
I didn't think he'd actually take it. Yeah. I mean, he's not in pain right now. He's just in stone.
You also know that it should wear off in about 28 hours.
Yeah.
"I
He could probably
say,
move him somewhere.
I say, why deny a man his death?
I'm not denying it. I'm just prolonging his pain. Who knows? He's not going to die from that wound. It's just going to probably it's probably going to get lopped off, and he's going to have a crutch forever. And I mean, we could either kill him, or we could just.
He will be a lesser man for this. We should end it.
And I go and draw my sword. And then I kind of look around.
This is
okay.
And yeah. And then I cut off his head. I raise my sword, kind of ceremoniously.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say it'll take a couple chops, but given you've got a masterwork sword, real sword, we won't worry damaging the sword like that. I'll say a couple good whacks, and then maybe a swift kick, and you can take his head off.
Yeah. And then I start to move pieces of rubble out of the room. Yeah. So the barkeep is sort of furiously sort of muttering to himself back and forth. He runs back to the bar, and he's sounds like he's pouring water or fetching buckets or something like that. And he keeps calling, get them out of here, get them out of here. He's obviously still concerned that they were sort of official Imperials. So you guys are dragging the corpses just outside into the street? I just drag them into the street.
Yeah.
Okay, so there aren't too many people out. Callie's caravan is gone. At this point, it's sort of getting to be dark now, probably 6, 7 p.m.-ish. You do hear a couple voices sort of muttering, but when you look left and right, you don't really see. So they're either coming from windows or wherever else. So you're not really tracking who's where, but it's definitely not like 3 a.m, dead of night sort of thing as you're dragging these bodies outside. Remember, these guys are uniformed. They're wearing sort of red and gold tunics, obviously with a little bit more red now than they had before. But
Yes.
A little bit more red.
Is there like a river or something nearby?
Yeah, I'll say there's like a stream. Probably not a full-on river.
Yeah, that's fine.
The big river, the Tide River's like quite a ways north. You'll be crossing that river hopefully to get to the Skyfields. But I'll say there's a stream, a brook, babbling maybe.
Oh, a babbling.
I turn to Jackley and say, "Where is the burial ground?"
Not sure. I was going to take him to the creek. Probably drop him in there, let the water.
They should be buried.
Yeah, all right. We should probably bury them.
Yes.
And I say, "Where is the shovel?" I go up to Callie. No, she's not around, is she?
Nope. This shovel digs graves for you.
Fortune.
This shovel only digs your grave.
I take it.
Thanks. Okay.
Never give it to
we're gonna try
anyone.
our best to dig, I guess, or find a place to put bodies. 3 of them?
Yeah, like I said, you've got 3 fleshy ones and 1 that's still made of rock. It did not revert from stone form after having been decapitated, unfortunately. And again, the village you're in is sort of like, there's like 2 intersections. There's 1 main road horizontally, and then sort of like 2 north-south. So there's only 2 real cross sections. And there are only buildings as far as those cross streets, because this is just sort of a central meeting area from the sort of townships all around. All the farmers all over the place would sort of come from here. So you're kind of surrounded by farmland.
Go to a field, I guess.
Yeah, we could probably get it. Is there like a cornfield or something with like tall grass?
Plenty, yeah.
Yeah, let's that is good. This is the burial ground. It's clear
I look around. Yeah, I look around and
This is odd, but very well.
Okay, so what I'll say in dragging these corpses can take more than 1 trip, unless you wanted to sort of really go for it, but then you may exhaust yourself, pull a muscle, cramp, something like that. So what I'll say is you can both take another XP, and during your 2 trips to the nearest sort of farm field, you're going to go past one of the small buildings, which was sort of just a little residential building on the edge of this little town. And as you're going past, dragging one of the bodies, sort of grunting, no, you pull, no push. And I said, push, pull. You're going to look up, and there's going to be a window a window that's just sort of closing as you look up at it. So somebody saw what you were doing in that particular building. You can choose to do with that what you like, but you definitely didn't manage to get all of these corpses all the way to the farm field without anybody noticing.
As on our like return journey, as we very last ones, I point to the house and say, "There was a face that saw us." This
before when the light goes on? Does he notice it, or do both of us notice it?
Yeah, you'll both hear the shutters slam shut, and yeah, it's fine. You can both have seen sort of just a head and shoulders sort of peeking over, and then when it sees that you look back at it, it quickly shuts them.
Can I do the neuron disruptor? And everybody within a mile is paralyzed for 28 hours, and then we can dig the bodies wherever we want.
You sure can. He's whoever saw from the window will still remember having seen it. So that's already happened. But you can prevent any further people from seeing. Yeah, if you wanna put everyone to sleep.
And within a mile. Yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then we can hide the bodies, and then I'll be like, right, we don't have much time. We better run. Because when they all wake up, he probably doesn't know what I'm talking about. Probably I press the button and I'm like, okay, and then no one around us fell asleep.
Well, yeah, when you say run, I say, a warrior does not run from a fight. Why must we run?
We're not
fighting. So Cord, you're going to push this button on the 1 mile radius, putting everyone in a coma for 28 hours.
Yes, but I want to hold on to grab his shoulder, Sato's shoulders, to make sure he doesn't go with it. Yeah, and then I want to. There was
almost some XP coming out of it.
Yeah, and then he's down, and then I'm like, uh-oh. So yeah, I hold his shoulder. I look at this machine, and and then I press the button again. It just goes. It's just a button now, and then I think it's got a dial on it. It said so. Anyway, I wind up the dial, and then it goes ding like a kitchen timer, and then it breaks.
Yeah, I mean, it's an egg timer. Well, yeah, there's an egg timer that's really aggressively clicking to let you know that you have 28 hours.
Yeah, and then that goes off, and then, but that's hard because I can't do that and hold. I go, hey, put your hand on my arm, and then I do it.
Why?
Just do it. I need you to just don't ask questions. Just do it.
Very well. I put a hand uncomfortably on your shoulder.
Okay, and then I quickly
It's a very tight grip. It's a very tight grip.
And then he does it, and then we have what I just did is I knocked everybody out. Everybody's asleep.
Why?
So we can bury these bodies, and we can be on our way. And then when they wake up, the bodies will be buried, and we'll be out of their hair.
We have done no crime. These men attacked us. We are innocent.
You're innocent. I'm not. I attacked first. Remember? I provoked it. By association, you're gonna be you're a criminal as well. So let's
I do not associate with you. You are not my brethren. Therefore, I should not run.
Right. So I risked my life and killed men back there. These men, in fact, because
it was honorable.
Our friendship, which I figured would bloom from this action. But apparently, you do not see that.
A friend is not a man who kills for another man.
Then what is a friend?
That, my friend, we will see. So, where to next?
Choice of words confuse me.
It was a joke.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah, I'm quite amused with myself.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with myself.
I like these rigidly conflicting concepts of legality and politics.
Yeah.
Friendship. You just have no idea. You think everything is just perfectly normal. This is fine.
Yeah, he's like, well, in spiritually speaking, he isn't guilty of anything. Therefore, surely in terms of the eyes of the law, then that should be an arbiter of that. But
Well, regardless, I think we should probably bury the bodies, and then we should probably be on our way. And then we'll discuss our friendship or whatever we are later, my friend.
Very well. Let us continue.
I said about finishing burying the bodies.
Yeah, so I'll say it'll take the better part of the night with the two of you to dig big enough and deep enough for these 4 bodies, cover them well enough so that they're going to stay and not be uprooted by a bit of runoff or whatever. So it's a long night, tiring. You guys are pretty exhausted towards the end of it, but you can tell sort of that sharp, sort of crisp, cool temperature. The coming dew of morning is on its way. It's not quite light out, but you're only a couple hours away from dawn.
Is this where we can rest?
So there's no like formal.
There is no rest.
There's no like formal like gain all your points back type rest.
Yeah.
But what you can do if you've got a long period of time, you can say I'm going to utilize my sort of 4 for the day because you've got 4 rolls for the day. And if it's going to be a long enough time frame, then I would just say your pools go back to full. That's fine.
Suburbal says, if a tree falls on a friend in the forest and nobody is around to hear him scream, were there any real friends at all?
Nice.
Yeah, so I guess we kind of rest.
So like, yeah, if you guys want to take like a day to rest at this point, like take the rest of the 28 hours that everyone's going to be in a coma, for instance, then you can just have your pools back to full and then have all of your rests for the day available.
What if we don't want to do that because we want to bury the bodies and then leave before they wake up?
Then you'll have to just go based on your rolls because you get 4 per day and they take a bit longer. So you'll have to actually roll out.
Can I use 2 of them?
Sure.
Okay. And this is 2d6 because I'm using 2?
Yeah, and it's +1 on each of the d6s. So 2d6 plus 2.
So this is...
if I want to replenish my might, what do I do?
So same thing on your character sheet towards the bottom. I think it shows you can have 4 rests per day. They each take a little bit longer as you go. Each rest you roll a d6 and it's plus your tier, your level, and then you gain that many points and you can put them into whatever pool you want.
Oh, cool. So I rolled a 4.
And you can break it up. You can do like 2 in might, 2 in
Okay. That's cool.
1, 2, 3.
So then that's 1. I'll do another 1 for 6. Wait, I've got my maxes. Goddamn. Oh, bollocks. What was it? Fuck. I'll say it's 15. I don't think it was any higher than 15.
Cool, no worries. So you guys do you take a breather, we'll say, after having buried these Imperial servicemen's corpses in the nearest by farm field, while everyone nearby was in a coma.
Awesome. And then we take a small rest, and then we're like, all right, let's go. We gotta get back to those. We should probably deal with whatever's ruining the herd animals for Jacob.
Yeah, so you do know where the Northwood is, probably about a half a day, so you'd get there by lunch of this next day, roughly speaking.
Okay. So yeah, we head that way. We head towards the Northwoods.
Cool. Well, given that everything in a mile radius is roughly in a coma, I'll say it's a pretty uneventful hike as you head towards the Northwoods. They're not an overly large patch of woods. It would probably only take the better part of a day to make a straight line through them, although the number of trails sort of in and out, you probably got a couple days worth of walking if you wanted to do this sort of scenic tour. Seems fairly common, nothing too unusual from what you can see from the outside. There is only the one little path that goes through it. It seems surprising to you that Jacobs would use this for like traveling caravans or carts, because it is a narrow path that's been carved through these woods. But again, you know, he's kind of doing it under the table to avoid the toll on the official route, etc. So
Awesome.
it's just about high noon. You guys are coming up to the edge of this north patch of woods, north of Faston. And you're there to see with what type of weird plant or something that's going on in the growth that is snatching or somehow robbing Jacobs of his sort of mules, essentially.
Yeah.
His bipedal mules.
Somewhere along the road, I say,
Have you ever experienced such creatures? this plant?
No. And I don't plan to after this. Kind of gives me the willies, actually.
What are the willies?
Willies are a feeling that gives you. You never had the willies like before. We were like when we were fighting those guards. You weren't a bit scared or anything. Maybe
Fear.
gives you the adrenaline. That gives you the tingly feeling when you're about to either run or fight.
No, there is no room for fear. A man must be disciplined.
Right.
Otherwise, one would fly into a rage like that man before. You see how I stepped aside, tripped him, and then stabbed him in the back. If he had been disciplined, he would not have done so. He may have lived. He may have killed me, and I would have had an honorable death. Alas, it is not so.
I carry on. As if that's the end of a conversation.
Did you see how I was better than he was?
Did you see how great?
So much better. Very simple.
A shameful display.
Cool. So, Cord, you're actually one more specific thing for you while you guys are walking the 3 or 4 hours it takes to get to the outskirts of these woods. You're going to feel, now that you're not digging and sweating, but you're sort of thinking back, trying to realize whether or not you were feeling this strange sensation while you were digging. You think you might have been, but again, you were so sort of exhausted at the time, and you were sort of sweating and stressed and nervous and everything that was compiling. But as you're calmed down a little bit, you took your rest, you started walking, you feel the sense that someone is watching you in some capacity. It kind of manifests as this, you think you see something in the corner of your eye, like someone standing there, and you sort of look over and there's nothing there. You think you just hear your name being called or something. So it comes up in a couple different ways, but something is present. There's some kind of presence near you in some way. It's your choice whether you want to disclose that to Will or not, but he doesn't seem to be looking over his shoulder, although he has also just explained how he's very disciplined. So maybe even if he was experiencing this, it wouldn't be bothering him the way it might be bothering you.
Seto.
Yes.
Or do you want to be called Seto or Yashuan? What's better?
Seto Yashuan is my name.
Should I always call you Seto Yashuan? That full.
It is a mark of respect amongst my people, but here, you can call me Seto.
All right. Anyway, Seto, have you been feeling a bit? Do you feel like somebody's watching us? Or are you?
Zillies you are feeling.
I
have
kind of like the
never felt your willies before.
I mean, his name could be Willie, but I think it's something. I think it's not an emotion or a feeling, but I do feel like it's probably a person or a sentient object rather than emotion.
Shall we lie in wait? See who is following. Round this next corner, we wait. Perhaps hide. See who comes.
Sure, let's try.
All right, I'll say you guys can find a convenient boulder on the side of the road. Something like that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and then we kind of hang out. And is there like a
We
stealth
chill.
in this? Then we chill.
We Netflix and chill.
Oh my God, Narcos, so good. Yeah, do you? How long do you want to wait?
Have you seen?
Have you seen the one where Jerry comes home all upset?
I don't know. Probably an hour or two. See if maybe just
Yeah.
see if
At what
anything.
point? At what point do you feel like you're going to give up on waiting? Because what I'll say is that no one else comes up the road. There's no other activity. And Cord, your sense of being sort of watched doesn't get stronger, although the minute you articulate that you're aware of it, it sort of pulls back a little bit. and then after you've been sitting there waiting, maybe you guys are making small talk or something, it pops up again really quickly and then goes away.
Okay. Can I try
I
to
see
like,
nothing.
Can I like try to communicate back to it? I know that's weird, but I mean, like, is there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're sensing for the first time. You're sensing a presence other than through your eyes and ears. So you're trying to perceive it in a way that you understand processing sense. So you're trying to understand it as a visual thing. So like that's what is sort of triggering you to look for the visual cue or the oral cue. But you're sensing something as if it's like a sixth or seventh sense. It's some other
or ninth
way of perceiving that you're not familiar with utilizing even on your own.
Sorry. That's delivery.
And that's the noise you're hearing. Actually, that's what you hear over your shoulder. Not true.
I mean, he's talking to the delivery man, isn't he?
Killed everybody in chat. Sorry, everyone. So yeah, he's here. That's cool. But is there any way I can like? I don't like. I'm trying to feel like how, because I want to communicate. Because I think it's probably maybe a machine, but I'm trying to feel like. Just a second.
The machine made your dinner.
I meditate whilst we're waiting. I'm trying to remain kind of since I've been into the civilization, it's been very odd for me, and so I want to get back to my roots, my nature.
Sure.
And I have a chill. I have a Netflix and chill. And yeah, I'm not really sure what he's doing. I assume that he's just sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Very good. All right.
Sorry.
So there's.
Yeah. So what I was saying before is you're sensing something. You're able to determine, sort of spending some time feeling this presence. That the reason why you thought you saw something and why you thought you heard something is because you're trying to process like the data cerebrally, like through one of the senses that you know and you're familiar with, but you're sort of able to determine that you're sensing this some other way, like you're perceiving through some other means that you're not too aware of.
Okay. Can I try to take out the cheese box? And I'm gonna try to run. Anybody doesn't know what that is? It's an oddity that Will gave me earlier. It's just a box that says one word in the language I know. But I tried to fiddle with it so it could say other things that I found off a guy earlier. I'm gonna turn it on. And is it displaying the message of the hard drive that it's trying to decipher?
Yeah, so same thing. It's like you're reading code one character at a time kind of thing by pushing that button. So those in chat, Cord actually was able to take an oddity, which is a little box that was kind of like a dictionary. You just hit the button and a new word would come up in a little screen. And he jimmied that together with the hard drive unit that he extracted out of a sort of malfunctioning like robot attendant who was meant to like take coins to give tickets into like a theme park that didn't exist because he's from some other time. So Cord like ripped at the hard drive, jimmed them together. So he's hoping at some point to like learn something about the time that little robot came from. But yeah, so you can like read code one word at a time.
Yeah, and he's probably been fiddling through that like as they walk and stuff, and that's probably why like just as he's fiddling, he's probably like, probably had the willies. And then he's going to, and it's just the same code from that I'm getting. It's not like any new information.
No, it's obviously you never saw all of the information because there's a whole lot of volume there. But what I will say is that you get this sense, like again, you have this strange, as far as you're concerned, non-sensory feeling that by pushing this button, you're getting closer. Like this button is somehow related. Like reading this code, something is related to the presence that you're feeling.
Cool. We could probably move on from here. I'm just gonna be. You keep your eyes out. I'm gonna keep my eyes probably buried into your little cheese box here. And
Okay.
He calls it a cheese box because the first word he said was cheese. And then he's just gonna decipher the code. Just because it's relieving the feeling of anxiety he's getting.
Sure.
I
Cool. Again,
I come out of my trance. Stand up.
You what? You got out of your trance?
Yeah, I have a trance on.
Yeah, because you're an elf.
Totally.
Totally. So yeah, well, I guess we head on with that.
Yeah, so you won't have spent enough time, obviously, to get anything more substantive out of the cheese box, but it is coming. There will be times when I start to feed you tidbits. You know, if you keep saying, "Oh yeah, while we're waiting, I'll pull out the cheese box," every once in a while, that will yield another little piece of data. Cool. So you guys can head towards the woods.
Yeah. Keep heading on towards the woods at a reasonable pace, I guess.
Cool. I would like a perception task from both of you, starting from the outside of the woods at a difficulty of 4, and this is auditory as well, not visual.
Okay.
Difficulty of 4, you said.
That's the base. Yeah.
Oh,
I will.
remind me what I can use to help with these.
Yep. So if you are trained in perception auditory, that would help. Assets for perception are a little tougher to come by. They're not as common. And if you want to spend any points, perception is an intellect-based task. So 3 points to reduce the difficulty by 1.
Okay, I'll just roll it straight because my intellect is pretty low. 0. Yeah.
Smell a trend.
Yeah. I definitely think I'm cursed.
Success.
Cool. So success cord, and also it's not just a success. We haven't had too many of these because it's all been like 20 or 0. The Numenera system does allow for small bonuses on any roll above 17. So 17, 18, 19, 20, those allow for me to sort of give you guys a little bit of extra other than just the success. So Will, you're not going to hear much as you guys take your first steps into these woods. Cord, you're going to hear what sounds like moaning in pain, and it's kind of trying to be articulate, but it doesn't really form any words. And the bonus that'll give you is that you can hear it coming from multiple sources. So there are multiple moaners just barely on the sort of outskirts of your sort of audible vicinity somewhere in these woods.
Okay.
And again, Will doesn't hear any of that stuff.
Will, do you hear that? Seto.
What? Huh? Oh.
Stop moving. It's probably because he's just buried into the cheese box, focusing everything on that button and like on that screen. His ears were open up to something, and he perks up and he goes, "Stop moving."
I stop immediately.
Do you hear that?
Do I hear anything when I...
That wailing?
No.
Right, I've got a funny feeling here.
Is
Stop
it
moving.
the Willies?
Yeah, this is the Willies.
I nod. I examine him very closely to see what these willies are.
You know for future reference what is on it.
Yeah, I kind of take a screenshot in my head. Yeah.
This is Willies. So
17 inches.
17 inch. So he probably takes a look around. What is in the surroundings of, like, where have we stopped?
Yeah, so it's not quite like a jungle type vegetation, so it's not like covered in vines and all that kind of stuff. So it's roughly a sort of temperate wood, so tall grasses, brush, that kind of stuff. And again, you're on what is a path that is just big enough for a small caravan to get through. So just maybe 20 feet across, 25 feet maybe.
And there's some vegetation?
Yeah, there's like a small amount of grass on the actual path that you're on, but it's been carved fairly well just through frequent use. And then left and right, you could probably only have visibility 30 or 40 feet into the woods because of the trees and brush and stuff.
Right. I hear
What is it?
moaning from this direction and over here as well. And I didn't before. It's not just like my ears are ringing. It sounds like an audible. People are groaning or moaning, but just in multiple places. And if it was one place, I'd probably like, all right, we probably shouldn't go over there just a respected couple. But I think that actually it could be something else, and not an intimate.
Do
Yeah,
you
on a,
want to?
on a 19, you're definitely sure that it is pained moans and not the good kind.
These are pain moans, not moans of passion. So let's try to get. Let's go. Let's see what's going on. And I'm gonna try to put the cheese box away and fasten or make sure actually draw my bow, and then start to sneak through.
I put a hand on my sword. I follow.
Okay, you guys can sort of navigate through the brush towards the nearest moaning sound. As it gets a little bit louder, Will, you start to hear these same sort of moans. Will, you're only hearing the first one, or the initial moan, rather than the sort of pair or set of them that Cord is still tracking. But you do hear the one that you're working towards. As you cut your way through, you eventually see what looks like a body sort of on the ground at the base of a tree, underneath sort of a bunch of roots kind of crumpled down. And you can't really see, I'll say you're about 20, 30 feet out from it. And you can see that it doesn't seem to be moving. Its eyes are open. It's hard to see from this distance what kind of injuries it might have or whatever, but it is what's moaning quite apparently.
What is this?
I'm sorry. What was it that was moaning?
There's a body, human body.
Okay.
Male, probably middle-aged-ish. Hard to see sort of from 30 feet out. Can't really see any injuries at this point. Maybe looks a bit pale at best. But you can clearly see, like, with his mouth moving, like he's the one moaning, although he's lying on the ground, otherwise not moving.
I kind of walk up to him. I look down.
What is wrong?
Okay, give me a perception test, and this one's visual. If you have any training in visual-based perceptions, any training in first aid, anything like that, those would provide assets. Otherwise,
Nope.
it's difficulty 3.
It's just straight. No, it's a failure, of course it is.
Okay, so this guy
3?
looks pale.
Yeah,
Right?
difficulty 3.
Yeah.
What is your problem?
Okay, so as far as Will's concerned, this man is pale. He's moaning. He's obviously in pain. He's not moving. Cord knows that he's quite clearly dead, but somehow still moaning. You don't see any wounds, Cord, but just based on the sort of white glossiness of his eyes and the degree to which his skin is completely paled, he's dead, and that's apparent when you're within 5 feet. And yet Will walks up and is starting to interrogate this corpse.
It's no use, Setho. He's gone.
Why?
He's
Dead?
Yeah, he had an honorable death. Or something.
Oh, why does he moan?
I
Like a
don't know.
coward.
No, I don't know. He's not. It's.
Have
I
a
don't
look.
know. I mean, he's clearly
He was
not
talking to
alive.
these metal machines. Maybe you can diagnose.
Right, let me try. So yeah, he's gonna try to.
Someone called Zombie. First call. That's a drunk guy.
Yeah. What is this? This is a There's machines on him.
He's
Nope.
like, I'm dead.
No. No machines on him. I don't know what Will's asking. There's
Yeah,
no
that's what I
machines
thought.
on
Okay.
him.
No, he's Seto's just like, you've done machine stuff. This might have.
Okay.
You're clever, sort of. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know more about machines than I do people, so this is a bit out of my league here.
He tried to 48 hour RPG stream. He's just dead. Seto's like,
Very well. There are more of them, you say?
Yeah, I heard more of them over this way. There's one.
Where did this man come from? Is he of this land?
Does he look Neverine?
It's kind of hard to tell racially between them. I guess like I always think of Neverine as just being the closest to what would be like Latinate or kind of Imperial Roman. So maybe darker hair would be common, but not necessarily like a guaranteed sort of telltale sort of thing.
Okay. But I definitely can like feel or hear. Is moaning? I put my ear to his mouth. Is moaning coming from his mouth, or is it just coming from somewhere inside my mind?
It's definitely coming from his mouth, and as you get in that close to him, you can make a speed defense roll of a difficulty base 4.
Cool.
Medical.
I'm just gonna do the.
What a
4.
shout out. I just thought it was
Success.
Okay, hold on. My roll 20 is all. Here we go. Okay, so Cord, as you lean in to sort of hear or feel whether or not the moaning is actually coming from this corpse's mouth, a vine from above you is going to whip, sort of lashing at your head to try and grab at your throat, and you just manage to kind of roll onto your back and not be lashed by this vine. And as you're looking up, there is this kind of almost half a foot thick snake-like vine that's sort of coiling and doing a bit of a snake dance in front of you. And Will, similarly, there's going to be a vine that sort of whips at your legs. So a speed defense task, base difficulty 4, and then we'll kick off with some initiative.
So I have speed defense.
So it becomes a 3.
Yep. Which is, of course, a failure. I can't actually succeed at anything.
Okay, so Will, you take 3 might damage.
Ouch.
And this vine is now partially wrapped onto you. So that'll increase the difficulty of subsequent speed defense until you can get that thing off.
Gotcha.
So let's give me initiative rolls, base difficulty of 4. You've got 1 vine each for simplicity's sake.
So the way initiative works, if I'm getting this correctly, and also for stream, is we roll. We're not rolling to see the order. We're actually rolling pass or fail between. We want to get either a success, which is before the creature, or a fail, which is after the creature. Am I correct?
So you treat it similar. So all creatures and NPCs have a very sort of basic single number that represents the majority of their values. Now there are some differences. Some creatures, an aristocrat, for instance, would be a creature level 2, but he would interact socially as if you were a creature level 4, things like that. But for the most part, if a creature like these vines are level 4, all tasks related to the vine is level 4. When you try to hit it, when it tries to hit you. So for initiative, you just roll a speed task of level 4, and if you succeed, you go before the monster does.
Hey,
It's a speed test, so that means I can
succeeded.
use my speed pool and use whatever's 3 points of my speed pool to reduce that 1 more point if I wanted to. Correct?
True, you would, yeah. You will have to declare prior to rolling.
Yes. I mean, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Yep.
That was
Yeah,
just that was in case.
Okay, so opposite initiative as
Exactly.
the last combat. So Will, you are first as this vine latches onto your ankle.
I'm just looking at my abilities. I guess I just thrust. I perform a thrust. I look down it and try to chop it off from my
Right
ankle.
on.
I kind of raise my foot to raise my leg to get a better angle to chop it off. So that is
guys are
difficulty
on
4.
Base of 4, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Hey, Retrosphere, how's it going?
That's my twin.
Oh, hey, that's your twin. As I am like raising my foot, I have to keep my balance. So do I get my balancing skill?
I will say, yeah. So how this will work is we'll say you're trying to give yourself an asset by lifting the thing up.
Yeah.
In order to do that, you had to be trained. So the asset's sort of coming from your ability to balance more so than anything, sure.
Cool.
So you
So
can
it's a
just-
free. It probably won't make any difference anyway. But its success, it did make a difference. Hey.
Right on the button made a difference. Cool. So what's your damage again? 6?
6.
Okay, so you cleave this thing off. It's no longer on your ankle. And the tentacle, or I guess because they're so thick, they don't look like normal vines that you've seen. And they move way too fast. It sort of whips back. Obviously, it doesn't make any kind of screeching noise or anything, but whips back and whips around, although it's still sort of poised in front of you slightly.
Nice.
And it is immediately going to retaliate just by trying to sort of whip, so more of like a bash or cracking a whip than trying to wrap around you, since it's just had its sort of thinner part chopped off. So a speed defense task, base of
Cool.
4.
I try to parry. I'm skilled in speed defense, so I go down to 3, and I fail. It gets through my parry, I guess.
Okay, so another 3 damage somewhere from sort of your shoulders up. You take like a whip crack,
Ouch.
and that's to your might pool.
Whip, crack, the sound of my heart.
So, Cord, you sort of rolled onto your back to get out of the way of the initial vine that tried to grab at you.
We lost. We
lost
lost
Will?
Will. I think that was probably because of my joke, or he just has really bad internet.
I'd like to think it's because of the joke.
Yeah, me too.
Is stream still good?
Stream's good. Stream is good. Yeah.
Hang
He
out with
just froze
chat.
for a second. Yeah. He's saying stuff. Let's see what he's saying.
No, screen.
Oh, he needs the hangout link. Okay. I think it's something pooped on him.
See you later, Nix, if you're still there. I know you were leaving.
Hey
that
guys,
noise?
guess who clicked the exit button?
This guy. We thought you left because of my joke, so I like
Yeah,
that.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Do not hit the button. Okay, so Cord, you sort of rolled onto your back to not get struck by this vine initially, and then it's just going to come down with a slam. Again, this thing's thick enough around that it can do some decent bludgeoning damage. So
got
speed
some-
defense task
It's got some
of
good girth,
4.
right?
It's 17 inches
70 inches of girth. Wow, that's huge.
around. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Feel embarrassed.
4, you said. All right. Speed pulled him. Hit? You're not hitting me. No, you are, because you're before me. What's happening?
Yeah, the vine is attacking you. It's slamming down.
Cool. I
Speed
forgot there was
defense
2.
task for you to not be struck. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Speed task 4. Here we go. Yeah. No. Yeah. Sweet. Another one.
Cool. So you dodge it again. For narrative purposes, you guys are both dealing with like a mass of vines.
Yeah.
But to keep it simple, there's sort of each round's attack represents multiple sort of swings and lashes and all these different things. And then similarly, a single HP pool for one vine is really just until that writhe of vines doesn't have enough to writhe again.
Awesome.
Cool. So the vines do their writhing, and Cord, you are up.
Okay, so I've still got my bow drawn. So there's just a mass, like a huge knot of vines, and when one of them is, in fact, taking out Will, and the other one is attacking me.
Yep.
I'm gonna fire at the weird mass of vines with my bow.
Okay.
So it's 4.
Yep.
I'm gonna spend speed for bow.
Yeah, so ranged attacks come from the speed pool rather than the might. So if you want to reduce the difficulty to ensure a hit or get better odds, you can spend 3 speed points. Yeah.
Cool. All right, just so everybody knows on stream, I've got my little character sheet out here. It's tiny on the screen, but I'm just adjusting my my might pool and my speed and intellect pool as I roll. So I just did that, reducing it down to a difficulty of times 3, 9. On the we lost someone, but it's a success. I rolled a 13. I think we lost Will again.
Cool. And your bow damage is 4?
Yes.
Medium weapon? Cool.
Medium weapon. Yep.
Okay, so I'll say you fire your bow and it sort of punctures through one of the writhing vines and actually like pins into another one, sort of sticking them together
Cool.
with your back barbed
Yes.
arrowheads.
Welcome back, buddy.
Will, just in time for your turn.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Just in
So
time.
Cord fired an arrow into his mass of writhing vines, and he sort of stuck 2 of them together, so punctured a number of them.
Okay. I turn on the one which is still just trying to whip me in the face, and I pirouette as it attacks me, and I turn to try and chop off what looks like the head or the
The next thickest.
the next bit of head. So
Just the tip.
just the tip basically. So it's a 4, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not really using anything else, so it's a failure.
Alrighty. Okay, and it is going to respond in kind. It's actually going to try and grab at your sword. So normal speed defense task, difficulty 4 for you as a base. But if you fail, you won't take damage. You'll be disarmed.
Okay, I've got trained in speed defense,
Mhm.
so that's just a 3. And watch me fail. Oh, that's a success. Dead on.
Just landed on the 9. So you managed to not be disarmed. You're all good. Although Cord, having fired your arrow in, you're going to have a mass of 2 or 3 more of these vines sort of whipping left and right, cracking at you as best they can.
Cool.
So speed difficulty, speed defense of 4.
4. This is a 4th level thing.
Mm-hmm.
What I roll? I rolled a 17, which is a success.
Cool.
Success is what I stuttered, but yes.
All right, and you can return in kind.
I shall. I will fire another arrow. If I fire in like melee combat, is there a thing against that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure actually that it reduces the difficulty. Ranged weapons are easier to hit with up close. I'm going to rule that as yes for now, and I'll look it up for next week. So point blank is easier in range.
It's easier to hit, so it reduces.
Yeah. It's not quite like D&D. They rule it as easier if you're up close.
Okay.
So the base difficulty would be 3, and again, I'll double check for next week, so we don't have to stop now.
The base is 4, but now it's 3 because I'm up close.
Yep.
Okay. I will stick with that 3, I believe. Am I trained in bow? It's a medium weapon.
Yeah. So generally at level 1, no one will have weapon
Said
training.
that.
They'll have proficiency, and then you'll be able to get training. Yeah.
Yes. There we go. 0 success. Well, that's fine because I've made so many rolls. So yeah, I probably miss. I fire off into the distance or into the sky really, because I think I'm on my back.
Yeah, or thumping into a tree or something like that. So, yeah. Cool. All right, back to Will. So this mass of vines just tried to disarm you of your masterwork, potentially heirloom sword.
Okay.
Well worth the digression, I understand.
Yeah, totally. Is there like a log or something I can jump onto to get some height advantage of this?
Sure. Yeah.
Now I want to jump up onto this convenient log. Is that a physical performing art? I don't really know what that is, or is that literally dancing?
Physical performing arts is going to be like dancing, maybe yoga, like Tai Chi, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So right up your alley.
This would more be like just a straight up jump.
Can I use my fleet foot thing? That's a thing.
Yeah, if you want to get outside of this thing's range, for sure.
Yeah,
You guys are all sort of tangled up, pun intended, in a melee here, all in immediate range. If you use fleet of foot, you can get outside of those vines' range.
Yeah, I try and use my fleet of foot, which is a DC 2 speed test.
Yep, so if you succeed a DC 2 speed task, you get to move a short distance and take an action.
Cool. So that's a success. I jump up onto this log to try and get out of the range. And I shout down to Jackley, "Get out of the way!"
Right. You jumped up on a log and told me to get out of the way?
Yeah, so like Will would have run like at least 30 feet and then gotten some height and told you to run away.
Okay.
But
I hold a ceramic sphere in my hand.
Yeah, so you also see he's holding a ceramic sphere.
Yeah.
What I'll say though, Cord, unfortunately the vines get to go first, so
Yeah.
you can respond how you like to that, but you're going to have both vines whipping at you, so 2 speed defense tasks of 4.
Mug Avengers, we're in Numenera, and welcome to the stream.
Two
to remind people we're only...
Ooh, 2 successes, right on. Cool, so that could have been messy if I was smelling correctly what Will was planning, because Cord, you may have been grappled by those things. But you managed to dodge, and then you can describe your 2 dodges and then how you respond to Will's instructions.
Sure. I just immediately imagine like these things are trying to like whip crack at me, and I just kind of roll out of the way, and then I roll out of the other way, and then I roll one way, and I'm like face to face with it cracking, and then I realize that's not a good way to go, and then it winds up and whips and cracks again at me, and then I roll completely out of its threat, and then I run towards Will or Sato.
Okay. So taking the instructions to heart, Will, what do you do now that Cord has listened to you?
Well, we'll never know.
He drops.
Oh no! So Will's having connection issues today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out while we have to deal with the new. He's back. Never mind.
Sorry, mate.
But thanks so much for hanging out thus far during Will's technical difficulties.
Yeah, and thanks for anyone who stuck around. We are a little bit late. We're running extra just because it took some time to get things set up. Apparently the internet across the globe has been fucky today between Roll20 and Skype and games and stuff like that. So we take absolutely no responsibility for any technical issues.
No,
of course, none of
we
it
do
can be
take
our fault.
absolutely all responsibility for going extra for the fun of it and for you guys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Totally.
And also
those
press
of you
that
who
follow
aren't,
button if you haven't yet.
Yeah, hit the follow button. There's sort of viewer decisions that get to happen when we hit certain milestones. So we're very close to another one where you guys can inject and actually say something that you want to happen. You can influence the story as it's happening live while tracking in chat. So hit the follow button if you haven't. Mug Avengers, we're playing Numenera by Monty Cook Games. It's kind of a fantasy sci-fi mashup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it my turn?
Yes.
Will, it's your turn.
What happened is I dodged and I ran towards you, and I think it's his turn now. Is what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Cord sort of rolled back and forth away from all these vines and then sort of scrambled up to all fours and sort of crawled up into a run and ran towards you.
Cool. I take my ceramic sphere and throw it down at the vines. That's the word.
All right, you can describe that because that's
Dangle it.
your little trinket.
Yeah, so I throw it down, and it explodes with kind of green energy, green radiation energy, which you can see burns the vines, but there's no actual flame. It's just like a force wave crashes into all of them and kind of like imagine it kind of sizzles all the way up the vine, and they take 4 damage.
Yeah, it actually, it full on sort of, it causes like a bubble, like a sort of spherical sort of dome in the area that it detonated. Everything within an immediate radius took that 4 damage of radiation burning. So no flames, but just sort of singed and burned. So the trees, the ground, the grass, this unfortunate dead man's corpse is now looking far worse for the wear. We're going to need to identify him by his dental. All just sort of mangled. And both of these vines are going to stop writhing. These sort of masses of vines are going to stop writhing. One of them is still kind of twitching a little bit, but they're definitely no longer an issue, I guess, for you guys. They're not active anymore. And as that detonation happens, you are immediately both going to hear this kind of boom, this sort of low rumbling sort of noise coming from all directions around you.
Kind of like the subway sounds that come from my webcam. Got it.
Yeah.
I shout down, "What is it?"
Is this a Willy?
Yes.
Crazy static.
Yeah, so
There's no static, Mug Avengers.
No, not here.
Yeah, that's probably your headphones.
could be the global internet issue that everyone's dealing
Yeah.
with.
The EMP wave that happened.
Yeah, like we just sent out from
Electromag waves is what it is.
the electromagnetic waves we just sent out. I forgot
Yeah,
what you
so
said, Mitch.
Yeah, me too.
so it's all good. Cord, you're kind of disoriented because Will just threw this radiation grenade that burned everything in an immediate radius without any flames, but just absolutely singed it like 3rd degree to ashes, burned.
Cool.
The vines sort of stopped writhing, but the minute that explosion was sort of finished, you heard this extremely loud, sort of low, like wah sound that came from all around you.
Right, so you did hear that one, right?
Yes.
What do you think it is?
Bad.
This extra hour is just pulling teeth, my God.
Oh, it's so good. It's oh, that's so good. You there? There you are.
What do you
Someone-
think it is? You
someone
said?
Yeah, what do you think it is? And you went, "Bah!"
I say
Bad news.
Right. I try to. It's coming from all around. Like, is the
That-
ground rumbling too?
No, it sort of started and stopped. So it literally was as long as I made the noise, just kind of a boo, like think of like an Inception bois, and it sort of grows, crescendos, and then pulls back a little bit. You can hear. I guess the only thing would be that everything else in the woods is silent right now. You had heard as you were walking through little sort of twigs cracking and animals, birds chirping, that kind of stuff. With the detonation of Will's cipher, this Inception bois noise, now there is absolute dead silence in the woods.
So I think we probably either head to those fields, or we can go back and get Jacob, because I think we're good, right? Or is there more there?
Yes. Well, I hear nothing
Oh wait, they're
else.
moaning. The moaning bodies over here. Wait, hold on. We should probably go investigate the other ones.
Are they still moaning?
Oh yeah, is there? Do I still hear those? The moans?
No, not anymore.
I mean, I don't hear them anymore. But
Then our work here is done. We can return to Jacob's.
do you want to return to Jacob's, or do you want to just continue on the path towards where we need to go? Because if we go back, people saw us dispose of the
Yes.
cards. So maybe.
Ah,
should
yes,
just-
you will be
Onward.
arrested for your crimes.
Right.
You will be arrested. I did nothing.
No.
That's me. I'll die. Or I'm sorry. I'll get arrested for that.
They will not kill you, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. But I'm not sure what's
You
worse.
are armed men, after all. Did not kill an unarmed man.
In lukewarm
Yeah.
blood.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Therefore, let's continue.
Right.
All right, as you guys turn around to start heading back in the direction you came, you're both going to see between two trees, probably about 20 or 30 feet ahead of you, you're going to see the silhouette of a humanoid, probably a little larger than most folks, probably closer to 7.5 feet tall. Not particularly thick, though, disproportionately. And this humanoid figure looks almost entirely just a silhouette to you. You can see no defining textures or features. It looks like this sort of blackish, brownish mass that's standing there. The only difference is that it doesn't have two legs. It's sort of just a column from the ground up until it starts to shape into shoulders. So there's nothing really from the waist down that's humanoid. It's just sort of this column. So you see this shape of a figure standing there, and it asks you in a very slow, sort of belabored voice, "What are you doing here?"
Gandalf?
I was gonna say. Oh my God.
Found something you didn't expect.
Oh my. There are two of us.
That's Gandalf the Grey. That's what they called me.
We were sent by travelers to clear the way, and it seems like plants were the issue, and now what are you doing here? Whatever you are. Do I sense that it's a machine?
It is definitely not a machine. You are going to hear the same voice, but this time it's going to sound like it's coming from beside you instead of in front of you. But the figure doesn't move. You're just going to hear, "That fire was unnatural. It hurts us."
Right. Well, there he goes. He's back.
Just carry on when it happens. I'm only out for 10 seconds.
Yeah. They what fire? I didn't see a fire.
Burns us.
Ah, was that the explosion? Just then.
You burned us.
Yes.
This time you did it.
He's
Correct.
going to repeat. He's going to repeat his first question. What are you doing here?
Apparently we're burning you. Alright, you first. Alright, say that.
Besides the obvious.
Besides the obvious burning, what let's say, we have come here to clear the way. There were moaning corpses. We put an end to it.
The weep vines. They were voracious.
They are gone. I burned them too.
They didn't belong here, but this burning burns more of us than just the weep vines. And at this, the figure that you're sort of looking at, again, the voice is sort of rotating from where it's coming from, but it's all from this shape. It's going to start to move closer towards you, but again, not taking steps. It's kind of rolling from the ground. And you can see that it's literally just a humanoid shape made out of soil. It kind of has some twigs, the odd leaves and things like that, maybe like little bits of bone or something like that, specks of white, the odd bit of pebbles or rocks, but mostly just sort of dark brown, sort of thick soil is shaping this figure.
What are you?
It's going to respond, they call me the soil man. But they never knew what I was called.
I bow.
My name is Seto Yashua.
He's going to sort of turn his head towards Cord, just sort of waiting.
I guess you can call me Jackley. Dolman.
Yeah, you're going to see the soil on this face start to sort of form lips. Before it wasn't really speaking out of a mouth, and now it's trying to articulate. So it tries to pronounce your names, Seto and Jackley. Sort of says it 2 or 3 times each to wrap its newly formed mouth around these names.
Soil man.
Tip of the tongue, the deep the lips. And the soil man is going to...
upon the balcony, mimicking his
The soil man is going to say, Branson. I was called Branson.
Branson. What happened to you,
How-
Branson?
Yes.
The iron wind swept through our village.
What is this wind?
Either of you can make an intelligence task, only a difficulty of 3, to have heard of the infamous iron wind.
Nope. Classic 2.
Classic Will.
Yep, classic will. Telling me he's
Ratchet was
soiling.
asking if he is soiling himself. Alright.
I mean, perpetually. I think,
Constantly.
is the answer.
I'm a soil man. That's embarrassing.
Although
So-
since he's not
so
ingesting, he's really just kind of seeping
Is
at all
intellect?
times.
I'm
Yeah,
so
intellect.
sorry.
What was the
I'm
base?
I'm soil sorry.
What's the elven word for soil? Oh,
Leos, probably Leos.
It's peat moss. Alright, so Munch. What's the base?
What did I say? Three?
Okay, so
Three.
it's 2 because I have an edge in it.
No, the edge doesn't change the base. It's just if you were to spend points, it would cost one less.
Oh, so if I wanted to spend one, I would drop it
You would
to
spend 2 instead of spending 3.
Yeah, let's do 3.
Okay.
Sweet.
Okay, Cord, you remember hearing sort of like childhood campfire stories, like stories to scare kids at night. Most parents are pretty uncomfortable whenever the topic came up. Other than like the most brutish of parents, most would sort of hush and not have people talk about the Iron Wind out of superstition. It's this sort of roving storm that roams across all of sort of the known world, seemingly at random. And it's this sort of almost invisible sort of torrent of wind, but it does sort of dust up enough particles that you can sort of see it coming. And it quite literally transforms and mutates everything that it touches on like an atomic level. So it literally transforms mass almost indiscriminately. So it can warp entire villages into shards of crystal. It can turn water into sort of roving forests. It can literally, it's this kind of wild force that just transforms. Obviously, it's associated negatively with, killing anything alive that gets hit by it. So,
Cool. I try to relay this to Sito. Right, so it's the Iron Winds is a thing. The Neverinies, Neverine. What do we call ourselves? Neverinians.
Neverinians, yeah.
The Neverinians talk about these Iron Winds as a storm, or like a warp storm that'll blow through and actually transform. He says the exact same thing, but I don't know how much he heard because he dropped out of the call. Transform most of the. It can transform villages into crystal. It can transform men into soil. It can really put a damper on someone's day.
I see.
The soil man will go on and sort of add to your explanation that he had no idea that he would retain his mind through this transformation. It's something he'd never heard of. He'd never encountered or heard of anyone actually maintaining their consciousness through this transformation process. Maybe it was unique to his transformation process. Maybe it was some other factor, but for whatever reason, he describes that he is now, for those who would get the reference, he's kind of like the Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, who's kind of this earth elemental who is sort of only slowly gaining his consciousness and understanding his capacity to connect with and touch and communicate and commune with all forms of sort of natural plant life. But again, he's only newly come to occupy or manifest himself as a body. He explains that this is the first body he's had since his transformation. And so he built it as best as he could remember in the image of his old body.
So, you want us to stop burning you? I mean, could you talk to your friends and tell them to stop eating our man's cattle and herd?
Yeah, he'll explain that the wheat vines, you destroyed sort of 2 of their roots, and he'll sort of pause and sort of twitch his head a little bit and say that they have been expelled. They've been expelled from the soil in this area, so they won't be an issue.
Good. Is there any way we can help you, Mr. Soilman? Or shall we be on our way?
Branson. His name's Branson.
Bronson Soilman.
He responds sort of slow and languidly, like he has been, and is just going to say that he has no sense of what his needs are anymore. He felt the pain from that fire you caused intensely. He felt it as his own pain. So he's only starting to understand his relationship to this patch of woods. All he asks is that you keep his presence, his existence quiet or a secret. He needs time to discern or figure out who he is and what he is. will let you. He'll let you pass unharmed in exchange for your secrecy, your silence, your confidences.
You have my word.
And thank you, W. Beniston, 2029, for following. Welcome to the adventure, my friend. You are a gentleman and a scholar, sir. Yeah, I say, he has my word, and yours, Jackley.
You have mine.
I nod.
Okay, he's going to sort of slowly start melting back, I guess is the best way to describe it. Start melting back into the ground. And just as he's sort of a set of shoulders and a head before being level again, he will just say, it was good to meet you by my real name. And then he'll sort of dissolve back the rest.
Good luck to you, Bronson.
Okay, and as you guys are sort of standing there, you'll see a path is sort of opening up, making like a beeline directly towards the direction you would have been heading on Jacob's caravan, heading towards the Amber Monolith. But rather than following the route that was through the woods, there's now this straight line as all the trees start to slowly just part and give way for you to have easy passage through this patch of woods.
Wow.
Good.
That was... I'm probably still staring at the pile of leaves or whatever that he melted into, and he's just kind of like unsure of what to make of it.
That was odd.
Yeah.
Did that give you the willies?
Yeah, still, yeah, that was the willies. Did you feel it? Did you feel willies?
I think I felt willies.
Good, finally. Well, anyway, those are the willies.
I do not like them.
I do not either. That's why I mention it when they happen. But anyway, that was quite something. Now I figured out what was following us earlier. I believe it was probably him.
That was Brinson following us.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. He wants to be kept a secret.
Yes, I think.
Right. But as long as he...
we will not mention his name again.
Right. We'll call him nothing. We won't speak of him.
Yes.
I'm sorry, now I'm speaking like you. This is awful. You're rubbing
It
off
is
on
odd
me.
how you do that.
Anyway, let's move on to where we got to get to the Crystal Fields, right? It's back this
Yes.
way, right?
Yes, we go through the new clearing, I guess, where it's opened up.
Cool. So you guys are headed now towards the Amber Monolith, which again is it's like 2,000 feet tall. It's about 500 feet off the ground. It's this giant pillar that's floating there that, folks again don't know how or why. And every year there's sort of an annual gathering of spiritual leaders or individual pilgrims who are wanting to head into the crystal sky fields for their various rituals and pilgrimages. So there's this sort of gathering of mercenaries who get hired en masse to protect those journeys. And that's, I guess, where we can take off next week, because that'll be a good spot to meet up and integrate Beth and Josh, because you guys will be heading to that next stop before crossing the river.
Yeah. That's good to me. That was a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, I had a ton of fun.
Yeah,
cool.
That was.
Thank you so much, dLinear.
Yeah,
can't wait for next week. Can't wait for Saturday. Will, you want to tell them what's going on Saturday?
Yeah, so on Saturday we're doing a 24-hour Dungeons and Dragons stream. I'll be giving away this copy of the Player's Handbook along
we got
with
touched by Will.
Touched by my very hands. I could sign it if you want. If anyone wants that. And I can't imagine many do, but in association with MinMax's Typical GM, dLinear, Maffin TV, and ourselves will be giving that away. Who's Beth and Josh? So yeah, 24 hours of D&D starting at 12 p.m. BST, 7 a.m. EST. I'll be starting off with a viewer game. If you guys want to get involved, you can do that. It's !play, and you can come along and play with me. And we're also here on Wednesday to start off our new game, Out of the Abyss, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So come along on Wednesday, same time. It's always 9 p.m. BST, 4 p.m. EST every single week. And Thursday as well, I'll be starting my West Marches campaign, same time again. And I'll be joined by some players, and I believe Josh will be there, as well as some other people. So come along for that. And yeah, any plugs you want to make, Mitch?
Yeah, no, nothing beyond. I do run a small sort of website. It's just a little blog where I just write out ideas. I've been DMing for a long time, GMing different systems, meeting some masterminds, D&D, all the way back to second and AD&D and stuff. So it's just a way for me to sort of think creatively, have fun with it. So there's stuff there for PCs, for GMs, tools, modules, concepts, stuff like that. Just ways to think differently about your typical sort of tropey quests, because I know after having done it for this long, it gets hard to come up with ways that fighting goblins is cool and exciting. So it's always good to just be reading new stuff and thinking about things in new ways to spice it up. So dLinear.wordpress.com, and it's all free. It's all just for fun. So
yeah, I definitely recommend going there. A lot of my inspiration, I just scroll through that site, and I'm always find myself inspired afterwards. I definitely, as a GM, go there, check it out. dLinear's got a lot of good stuff to say about systems and role playing, which is a wonderful resource.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Do you have any plugarinis?
Yes. I just bought Shadow of Mordor because it was on Steam sale, so I am playing through that. I just played it earlier today. It was great. So come check me out. I'm at Mythomatic. I'm hanging out in chat. Also, I've got I'm doing a trading card game with my buddy. We need artists to volunteer some of their time and maybe some of their doodles. So get in touch with me, and you can probably tweet me or just message me on here, and I could get that, and I can get you probably a card that you want to doodle. Go for it. Also, I do a graphic design, so if you want to stream and you want an overlay, or if you want something cool like this, let me know, and I could do it for relatively cheap. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
The only other thing.
Twitter. Sorry. Follow me on Twitter.
Twitter and Twitch.
Yeah.
The only other thing I can. Oh, someone dropped.
Oh,
That
not
was
you.
Mitch that time.
That's
Oh, it was me. Hey. The only other thing I can think of is that we are only 3 followers away. So if you're in chat and haven't hit that follow button yet, hit that button, and we'll be one step closer to 600 followers, and that'll be pretty cool.
When you do that, there's a viewer decision. We could all vote. We could decide in chat what can be brought to the game, and we will throw it in there. It can be anything. Viewers will all vote. It'll be great. Yeah. So at every 50 followers. So we need three more followers, and the next game we have, which would, if we do it today, it'll be in the Out of the Abyss game on Wednesday. We can vote to see whatever happens. So yeah, do that. And we keep dropping Mitch.
no, I pulled a Willow.
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Leave it at me. But yeah, I think that is all until next time, which is Wednesday. Have a good night, guys. Have a good couple of days, and we will see you on Wednesday at 9 p.m. BST, 4 p.m. EST. But until then, try not to roll too many ones. Try not to kill too many trees and burn people with radiation and make them into soil men and the like, because we want to be laughing when you do, guys. Thank you for what's been like a 8-hour stream for me today. You guys have been hanging around all day, so thank you guys for that, and I'll see you again on Wednesday.